Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this. The podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody. Power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers. Let's go.
I'm Loverboy Timothy Flowers.
And I'm Dashing Chris Ringrose, and we are the sexiest tag team in professional wrestling, the Brothers of Seduction.
And you're listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Hello! We're saving the cockles because somebody has a massive trip, and we can't make him sound like Darth Vader again. Welcome to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, episode 501. Mark the Mark, Sir Michael Jenks. I hope everybody enjoyed the 500th episode. By the way, we got some cool little reviews in the email that they're shocked that many people called in. These are fans now. So of the listeners are like, holy shit, you guys actually pulled this off, and you had people call in. Yeah.
See, the phone number does work. Guys. Yeah. The phone number does work.
It does work. So they did a lot of, hey, that was a cool episode. Do that again. We will. Probably at 600.
Yeah.
Or
750.
Yeah. 758 will be the next big episode.
Just to make sure we confuse everybody. Also, I mean, if I don't talk for the next week at this conference that I have to go to for work, then I'm fine.
You don't think you're going to talk at all? I know you don't have to do a presentation or anything, right?
Yeah, I don't have to do a presentation. A lot of it's probably going to end up being some networking stuff, and then it's mostly going to be I'm sitting around listening to different things, different topics and whatnot. But there's going to be some things that's going to be like, oh, it's a round table, so you have a conversation about what you do at, what your company's doing versus this company. So there's going to be a few opportunities in that, but honestly, it's not wrestling, so I'm not going to be over the top about it. So,
touche.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Fucking shay.
We'll see what happens. We'll go with that. But
yeah, more on that later.
Yeah, more on that later.
So that's essentially, I'm not being a dick, that's essentially your future week. What happened this past week? You do seem a little more peppier. You sound better than last week, and I know you're still vibing into it slowly. You're not drinking pumpkin like I am tonight.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous, but it's still just cold enough in the fridge that when I finally crack that, it'll be fantastic. Right now, the past week has been a whirlwind of sorts, just kind of gone by quick. In and out, had some trainings this week earlier on. It was the first week back actually in office and having, you guys know I was sick last week. I had the vid, so it was the first week actually getting back into it. Into the motion of things. Monday night, Mark, holy shit. I went into the office, came home, did the work day. I passed out at 8 o'clock. I had to watch Raw on Tuesday night because I could not stay awake. I had Monday Night Football on. I was like, okay, Browns Steelers, because that's big in this neck of the woods. Panthers Saints, don't really care about it, but it's fantasy points can help me here, so let's see what's going on there. Monday Night Raw, out by 8:10. I woke up at 1:30. I woke up at 1:30 like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I had no idea where I was, looked at my phone. Kimberly called me 3 times at 8:30, texted me about 4 times, and then at 11:30 is like, I hope you're okay. I love you, whatever.
He's out.
I was passed out. I barely put together a sentence like, sorry, fell asleep at 8. I'm going to bed. I'll talk to you in the morning. Love you too. But I was passed out. It was
It legit all caught up to you.
It legit, everything caught up to me. And so got a good night's sleep Monday. The rest of the week has been fine. Just starting to stress a little bit more about getting everything packed, bag taking, what I'm taking on the trip and all that stuff. So just making sure everything does, because I don't want to check a bag. So I'm trying to do one carry-on bag and that's it.
Good.
But that's a pain in the ass to begin with. So, because I got to fit a laptop in that carry-on as well as all the clothes and everything. And I just want to make sure it's all fit and nice and done.
Sunday to Thursday, right? So that's a massive part of your week.
Sunday to Thursday, traveling pretty much all day Sunday and all day Thursday to get back. I mean, Sunday I leave 6 a.m. from up here in Erie to get to San Diego. I'm going to San Diego for the trip. And then Thursday coming back, I start at 9 a.m. their time, San Diego time, and I won't get back till 11 p.m. our time. So I pretty much lose the entire day just traveling, trying to figure out my life at that point. And that's with no delays. Hoping there's no delays. Because the last time I took a trip to San Diego, there was a delay at the last coming back. I was stuck in Detroit for 4 hours. So that was a pain in the ass. But it's just been a whirlwind, just getting everything ready to go and try to take care of everything so I don't have to worry too much about it and that. So fun times are ahead.
Had by all, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So we might have some stories next week on the podcast.
I'm excited for this.
I may also be dead to the world. We'll see what happens next week when I come on the podcast. So we'll see how enthusiastic I am.
Or we're gonna get, hey, can I do the podcast because I'm still in an airplane in Guam because that's where we got derailed to.
I got derailed I'm in the middle of Puerto Rico without a passport because that's where I could land. Because I don't have a passport. So
somebody come and get me, please. Bail me out of here.
Somebody help me. I'll tell you what, if Charlotte ends up, because I'll end up having a layover there, if I end up getting stuck there like overnight or something like that, I might just take a car.
Call Kenny Omega. He's always going through there.
He's always in Charlotte. So maybe Omega can ride me back here to Erie. But if not, I might just grab a car and drive back. So we'll see what happens. But
that, for me, to the Charlotte area is about 10, 11 hours. So add 2 more probably for you. So it's another whole day, essentially.
If it gets me back, I mean, because it'll be playing because I'll have to buy a new ticket if it's delayed or canceled or whatnot. So I'm just hoping it's status quo. Everything goes fine. Everything goes smooth and we're good there. I will say if I ever take another work trip again and it's relatively close to Erie, I'm driving it because I'd rather just
San Diego definitely is not close. It's
not close enough to drive. But like if it's like to Charlotte or like to Tennessee or something like that,
go.
It's 6, 8, 10 hours. I can make it work. You know what I mean? It's an easy. I won't say it's an easy trip, but it's at least close enough.
Fun, though.
They are fun. I enjoy road trips. I enjoy driving, and honestly, if I can go and just pack everything that I would want to and just have it in what I need it to be spread out or whatever it is, I'm all about that. So
yeah. It almost is easier. I want to get Kelly on a plane once in her life to go somewhere. One, the experience, two, because maybe Ethan would drive now. I don't know if he's ready for city or anything like that, but like long interstates that I know that there's maybe a couple 100 miles in between, I could probably let him go.
Yeah.
But, Kel doesn't like any of that. You've heard the story a million times when we went to Milwaukee. There's a little town about a half an hour away. She fell asleep there and she woke up in South Bend. And I said, hey, we're in Indiana. And she says, that's it. And I said, no, the fucking state, not Indiana, Pennsylvania. You've been asleep for 8 hours. Great passenger, by the way, too. Great passenger.
I will say I've only been on an airplane once, and that was the last time I went to San Diego. So I don't fly because I don't go anywhere. Like, I don't take vacations that often. If I do, they're at home.
They're quick.
Kimberly's going to be the one trying to poke me and say, we should go here, we should do this, da-da-da-da-da. She hates driving, so I'm going to end up being like you in that situation where she's asleep in the passenger seat, and I'll be the one taking off and driving off into the sunset and whatnot. But, yeah, so, yeehaw, giddy up.
Yeah.
What's up with you? How was your week?
It wasn't planned that we didn't have a spotlight this week. A lot just happened, and schedules just get crazy, especially as professional wrestlers. So 501 was supposed to be Wednesday, but again, I digress. Something happened, and we'll get him back on here in the near future. So that was that. The rest of the week, I watched wrestling, did a few things around the house, and I'm going to buy a Steam Deck. Do you know what a Steam Deck is?
Yeah. It's Steam, so that's the video game console for Steam, right?
Yeah. Computer games.
Computer games, yeah.
I was looking at getting a gaming computer. Yes, we have one upstairs in the son's room, but he is like me. My PlayStation 5 is my PlayStation 5.
No one else can touch it unless I say you can touch it, yeah.
Don't be dicking around with it when I'm not at home. If you erase my franchise on MLB, I will burn this house down. He does the same thing, and it's partially my fault. He does the same thing with his gaming computer, and not that we play the same games whatsoever. So neither of us would cross paths. But it's his. He paid for it. That it is hard-earned money. So I respect that. You've heard over the years, yourself as included as well, I'm just so much into these simulator games. I'm such a mark for these simulator games. And it's stupid because I get to do some of this stuff at work.
Yeah.
There's a lot more simulator that I want to play. There's
Pressure washer, yeah.
Pressure washer, pool boy, which I don't know why. Snow plow. But there's two that really got me this week. So when I made time for wrestling, I watched wrestling. But otherwise, when I wasn't doing anything or just putzing around the house, I had these videos playing on YouTube. Like, there's times I don't know why we have cable. Because all of us are watching YouTube from some other fucking device.
Yeah.
So that's what we watched this week. Car dealership simulator just looks so fun. You buy a car, you have to wash it, clean it, up it, and resell it. I hate cars. Like, I buy a car so I can get from A to B. I don't know what a Prius is compared to a Volvo or nothing like that. But just the idea of building a bigger car dealership, yes, I'm in. I want to do this. This guy made it fun. He had like 10 episodes. God forbid all week. I made sure I plowed through all of them. And they were from like last year.
Yeah.
Watched them. Loved it. I need to play this game. Then he only had one episode of this one. Apparently it just came out maybe 6 months ago, and you would probably like it too. Pub Master.
Oh my God.
Right? You can buy beer from places, but you have to create your own beer as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. To build this pub that your grandfather left you when he died. Why? It will be more tedious work for me because I'll be like wondering what's going on with my pub while I'm at work.
Yeah.
You can have it running when you're not
when you
playing.
work, yeah, so that you can make the money and all that, yeah.
I'm like, I need. So I've looked at entry-level gaming computers, and Ethan's like, well, you got to make sure your SD card's good. You got to get this, got to get that. If it's not running fast enough, you're going to you're going to flip shit.
Yeah.
You're all right. He's like, you'd have to buy the same thing I have, and mine's like $2,000. I'm like, oh,
no, thank you.
My nuts dropped a little bit. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that deep into it. Get a gaming laptop then. And of course they can go high end too, but something that's, so I'm looking at $1,000 now. I'm like, Jesus. And I've known about this Steam Deck for years. Do I get the one that only has 64 gigabytes?
Right.
Well, I don't want to be adding and subtracting games, but that's what I would do anyway. I don't need the terabyte because that's damn near buying a computer.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle at like $550 to $600, depending on where you're buying it, for the 564 gigabyte one. When am I going to pull this off? I don't know. But it seems like it's going to be the best way to go because you can also buy this other $20 adapter that you can put it right onto your TV then. You have the TV. It's kind of like it turns into a switch then.
Yeah. Yep.
Throw it up onto the TV, and then you can use. Plus, kids today, and I say this out of respect and love, I don't know how they play video games on a computer. Like, I don't understand running the mouse to do everything and the X, Y, Z, W. Like, they know button. No. The Steam Deck at least gives you
the stick and everything else.
Joysticks
and the
pad in the back and stuff. Yep. That I know. I couldn't sit here right now. And you have to do stuff fast on some of these simulators. I don't know where – I'm looking at it right now, and I barely found it, where the W is.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and like to me, you would want it to be the arrows would be upright, left, center, so you can move spacebar maybe to shoot, enter, whatever. The fact that you have to do ASDW to move and then hit like JKLMD to shoot is just astronomically mind-blowing to me. I have no idea how that's possible.
But listen, he's got the fingers. I don't think typing classes. Did you have to take typing classes?
Yeah, we had to take typing class, and they also put the paper over the keyboard so you could not see it.
Right.
So you had to figure it. Yeah.
We had to do that, and I think I barely passed when typing was a thing.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
I said, Ethan, do you have a type? They're like, why would there be a typing class? This is a gene that we're born with. And he can sit and type a report faster than I can think of a report. Because the kids today can just, I think we just passed it down that they know how to type.
Yeah.
I still don't know where letters are. I fake it till I make it with both fingers. I'm showing Jenks with both fingers doing like this. I couldn't not look at the computer or anything and pretend to know that I'm typing.
My one thing, I've mastered the 2-finger just kind of typing method where I can go fast with 2 fingers, but you try to get me the ring finger and the pinky finger to get fucking going. I have no idea. They're not useful whatsoever. They're dead weight at that point.
Off.
They're just around for the fucking ride at that point. And if you start snipping our commentary, you guys are perverts. But anyways, let's go on. I realized as I was talking, I'm like, I'm only good with the 2 fingers. I'm like, shit, somebody's going to take that and run with it.
Somebody needs to do that. Go through all 500 episodes and just pull stuff out from Can Crushers and make a perverted episode. That would be episode, like, whatever.
They could get 20 episodes easily. I mean, it's not even going to take.
No.
It's not going to be that hard.
You want that work for it.
I wanted to go back real quick because I wanted to. Have you seen the game? Now, 2 things. I saw it was either Farming Simulator or the lawn mowing one was on the PlayStation, and it's free if you have PS Plus or whatever. So I was thinking about downloading it just to see. Well, might as well when in Rome, right?
Right.
But there's another game I always see on TikTok, and I watch it constantly. It's a customs check where you're in like fake Soviet Russia, and basically they bring in like a truck comes through and you're checking for smugglers and all that stuff. So you check his passport, you check his ID, you do da-da-da and do the list. I'm like, man, this is so fascinating. I don't know if it's the guy's voice checking through it or what. And I'm like, I would love this game just to kind of go back and forth and all that. So that would be one of the, I would need more reasons to buy a Steam Deck, but that would be the main reason I buy a Steam Deck, would be for that game.
The other one, and I'm glad you brought this up because it actually jogged my memory, Prison Simulator.
Yeah.
You are the guard. And then the cool thing is you can name all the prisoners. So you're telling me that you and John and the family wouldn't be prisoners? I might play a little good with you, but the neighbor across the street, you're fucking cutting your grass at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Oh, you're going to the bathroom?
How dare you? What I used to play, wasn't on Steam, but I had the physical copy of Prison Tycoon where you had to build up the prison, run the yard, and all that stuff. So I always got a kick out of that. But oh man, there's a lot of good random games out there on Steam that just fantastic.
Really, so that's my next big purchase. It's when I don't know, but I think it needs to happen. Plus, then you can just run everything over Wi-Fi, and I don't need to have it connected unless I really want to have it connected. So,
I think my
week.
That's fair. That's fair. I think my next big purchase might be a Switch. I do want a Nintendo Switch because I love the Mario games and all that stuff. So I want to play those. Kimberly has one. It's a Lite, but I want the one that connects to the TV. Because I want to play Luigi's Mansion. I want to play all the Marios. There's a couple other games that I've seen for Nintendo Switch. I'm like, I gotta have the big screen.
That's Kel's gaming system. She has that upstairs, and we essentially bought it for her for Animal Crossing. That was her game for a long time. Like, you couldn't breathe on the Switch because it was hers. Yeah. Don't fucking touch it until I'm done playing Animal Crossing. So back in December, she actually brought it over to the hospital when I was in there. I played it for the week that I was in December. I bought FIFA.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I haven't played it since. Well, but the new FIFA is coming out, and I may get that for like the PlayStation. But
well, see, actually, now thinking about it, my debate is: do I get the Switch or do I get a PS5? Because I got to get the PS5 to get.
I want you to get the PS5.
I know NCAA to get. I'll upgrade Madden at that point. Get the new games going on the PS5 and all of that stuff. So that's kind of where my head is I want to Switch so I can play those other games, but I guess I could play them on Kimberly's and be fine with it.
I was going to say that the Switch may be coming too, right? I mean, we're not throwing anything out there, but there's a strong possibility the Switch is coming to your house.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a very strong possibility. So it's like, okay, so I'll have the opportunity there, so might as well buy the actual big system that's going out of commission, is going to be out of date anyways by the time next year rolls around, probably, when they announce the PS6 for 2025. But I digress.
I know, don't, because that's a tough pill to swallow.
It's always tough. I always get it when it's right at the ass end of the life cycle for the consoles, because I'm like, I've always been behind the 8 ball, so I'm like, I got to play the shit out of this before I can justify getting a new one. And even then, this 360 that I have here, the fucking disc plate's off of it. It runs louder than the fucking space shuttle, but I'm fucking running that thing till it completely shuts down. The disc tray, I have a butter knife designated to just open the disc tray if it gets stuck, which happens a lot more than you think it does. So, but some bitch won't run, so it's gonna happen.
It's going till it's dead. The red light, not happening. Nuh-uh.
Well, funny you should say that. I had the red light back in 2007 or 8. Had to go through the whole thing, like, hey, get submitted to the company. They sent me the system back, and it's been running since then. It's been 15 years. It's running pretty damn well. Yeah. Start knocking. It's been running pretty damn well, but it's definitely louder than it needs to be at this point. But
and then otherwise, to the Pitt game tomorrow night. Again, tomorrow night, let me re-say that Pitt has got another primetime game at 1 and 2 against UNC, and it looks bleak already. This was their first loss of the year on my schedule. Could be more than that.
Yeah, well, it's already past that now.
It is past that now. So yeah, that's it. That's it. Before I was going to promote maybe this week's spotlight because it's recorded in the hopper, ready to go. But I think maybe I'll tease that after segment 2.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So, you want to dive into some of this stuff?
Yeah, we should dive into something. I guess it's been a busy week.
It has.
Wrestling too.
Let's go back a week though.
Yeah.
Because We hinted about it last week on episode 500. Let's see how many times we can say 500 in this episode. The PWI 500 came out.
Oh, yeah.
You heard us both kind of. We saw the top 10. We wanted to know where the first woman was. Well, we did that. I think it gets worse and worse every year. We continue to bitch about this. And wrestlers are kind of mocking this now, too.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with probably 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I really do. And 4 is okay. I can't imagine, because this has been this week's big thing for me. How the fuck is Vikingo above not only MJF, but Okada and Cody Rhodes? And I know he's doing stuff internationally, but he loses a lot.
Yeah, and this is going to sound bad, but it's marketing 101. It's basically because he's just been touring everything under the sun, and his face is literally everywhere. From AAA to, I think he's did some stuff in New Japan, to AEW, and he's wrestled. Hey, it's great he's getting around. He's wrestling all these guys, having these, I wouldn't call them dream matches, because Vikingo just is like getting really hot on the scene in 2023. It was his breakout year. But for me, he's really only that, like, maybe he's somewhere in the top 20, but even then it's like later top 20, 18, 19, that type of thing, because you're just breaking out. I mean, Will Ospreay on this list is 17, and Will Ospreay has defeated Kenny Omega.
Right.
He's the month and a half he's had, and I guess it's the timing of PWI. I don't know when they run it. I think
it legit goes from like July to July.
Maybe it's July to July, so maybe it's the timing thing, because he beat Omega end of June, and then he beat Danielson, or he beat Jericho, he beat everybody under the sun. I don't know why I said whatever, but you know what I mean. He was beating a lot of people, so maybe that's because it didn't happen until August. So maybe that'll reflect on him last year. But still, 17th is just so low for him. Danielson, Ospreay and Danielson both out of the top 10. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, I agree with Okada. OC, you can make your argument, but he was the workhorse for AEW this past year, besides Moxley.
Right.
Obviously. So I think that's warranted. I think there's a lot of people that should be higher on that list, but my God, Vikingo I think is way too high for the common good.
I'm going to get some hate. I respect her, and she's good. She's done it a lot. Slamovich is your first woman on this list?
Yeah.
What?
At 15, nonetheless, which way higher than what they had last year when they did the women. But yeah, I can't. If you asked me to name the top women in the world, I wouldn't name her in the top 10.
No. This is, and I think maybe, but you said marketing. And I thought, well, maybe this is what the PWI 500 is now. Names and marketing value, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
If you're anybody with WWE, your name's out there more than Slamovich's.
Yeah. 100% more.
If you're, this is not a shot, because she didn't have a great year, because she's been doing, I think, a lot of other stuff. If you're Britt, and I love Britt, her name's out there more. Not even wrestling. Let's be real. Britt hasn't had a ton of matches in essentially maybe the last 6 months. Maybe in the last 2 months she has picked them up, but there was a little bit of injury. A little this. So she really hasn't had a Seth Rollins schedule or anything like that. Right. She's above Slamovich. And it's not because of what she did. If it's marketing-wise is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Bunny. You don't hear Slam, and that's probably where I'll get hate right there. You just don't hear Slamovich unless you're following Impact.
Oh, yeah. 100%. You don't know who she is unless you are watching Impact on a regular basis. That's when you know. I mean, Britt Baker is not even on the PWI 500.
Right.
And I'm doing quick searches right now. Bianca Belair isn't even on the top 500.
Right.
You're going to tell me Bianca, who has been basically the women's workhorse in the WWE for the past year?
2 years.
For the last 2 years, thank you, isn't even on there. Charlotte's not on there. I'm betting $5 Becky's not even on this list when I look it up. No Becky.
So then I'll even spin this. If you're going to go marketing-wise and what she's done recently since her walkout of WWE, why isn't Monet on there?
Yeah. Why is Monet? This is the same thing every year with this list is women aren't acknowledged if they're in the WWE or even in AEW to that extent. And I don't know if I don't know why.
But in 2 months or so, you're going to get the top 500, and this is backhanded, so I'm going to say you're going to get the top 500 women of wrestling, and it's going to be littered with everybody in WWE and AEW, and then maybe some indies will pop up. I don't understand, and they never show us the breakdown of this. That's why I think it's actually a Ponzi scheme across the board.
Yeah.
I just don't understand what the qualifications are of this and then the women one that they do in a couple of months, because Slamovich probably won't be in the top 50 on the women's one.
Well, exactly. And to that point, Billy Starks is on this list, and she's at 96. Billy Starks is not going to be in the top 50 of the women's one.
No. But if you count the 50 women, just count the – don't do that right now because it's going to be –
There's not 50 women in front of her on this PWI 500 that came out like 2 weeks ago, and we didn't talk about it. But from the list that I've been working through, there's 3 women in the top 100. We've named 2 of them. The third one is Trish Adora, and she's at 82.
There you go.
So is it that we're going to acknowledge the men, but the women's side of the things are, well, if you're not in a bigger company, we'll give you some flowers if you've been over the top. You know, to that point, I mean, Billy Starks is in ROH, but she's strictly pretty much in ROH. She doesn't come up to the AEW roster, so you have to have Honor Club to watch her wrestle and do her thing. And she's a young woman. I think she's, 18, 19, somewhere in that range. She's very young, so she's doing great in that regard. But again, we talked about this last year. They released the women's list 2 months later because there was so much backlash on the list to begin with. It wasn't that they announced and said, hey, the PWI is doing a women's list. They only did that because there's so much backlash for what they were putting in this list. So even then, to me, it's hard to separate sometimes your wrestlers from the accomplishments because the company is putting a lot of accomplishments on the wrestlers. So if we talk about the top 3 of the PWI list where it's the Shield essentially, your 2 world champions in WWE and your international world champion and someone that was the world champion last year at this time that carried the company through Crisis and Moxley, those are your top 3 for PWI's 500. So that there is weight here. So you're going to tell me the Tony Storms of the world, the Biancas, the Beckys, the missing a lot of people, but the Jamie Hayters, all of them, even
Mickey
in
James
Impact. I was going to say, I was even going to go to Impact. Mickey James, the Deonna Purrazzo's, the, Trinity's, who's now a champion in Impact.
Camille.
Exactly. Camille. None of them are recognized on this list, and they are all the dominant world champions. Camille was for 2 years, right? The world women's almost 2 years, right around there.
Almost 3, I think.
Almost 3, yeah, you're right. Actually, almost 3.
14 days, I think.
Something like that, yeah. In NWA, she fucking ran that company for 3 years and ran the women's division. You got to put some weight in that because the companies are putting so much behind these women to hold the title. And it's not like and this is not shade against Nikki A.S.H., but when they gave her the Money in the Bank run for the hot second and the women's world title run for a hot second, it was a trial period, but they were testing it out. You know what I mean? So they gave her the run. I'm not saying like that, but if you're going to have a consistent champion for a year and a half, even for 6 months of a year, that's a substantial chunk of time. They should be recognized in PWI saying, this is what they did. They did accomplish this in the company, and they had some good stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those women that I listed are great wrestlers and had great matches during their runs.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm scrolling through these, and this is no shade on Sir Michael Jenks, but there's a lot of names on this list. I don't know who they are. And I'm not being mean to them even, but it's almost like, yep, you made this list. Karrion Kross, I stopped right here, is at 440. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we have shit on him. All right, ready? Because this is where I'll get hate, but I love this human being. Sonny Kiss is at 431.
Yeah.
What? Like, I just don't understand the ramifications and how this list goes. Or Dirty Dango's at 406, who has only done independent stuff for the last 2 years.
Yeah. And when you think about it, one name not even on the list, Naito.
Yeah.
He's absent from the 500. So you're going to tell me Dirty Dango has been a better wrestler than Naito? Or I can give you that some of this list can be, but Nato's in your top probably 50 to 75 range.
Yeah.
Easily. Dijak, 457. He's starting to come up there. I would have put Dijak higher than that. He's had some bangers on NXT. You know what I mean? But to your point, there's some people here that are just sitting out here like they haven't done anything. Josh Woods gets jobbed more times in AEW than I've seen than a lot of people. But he's 400 right on the dot. It's wild to me at this point.
I just wish there was some type of clarification. I think it's just the first, maybe the 10 is real, or at least, there's debate for the 10. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's the next 490 people that get their name in. You're sending an envelope because you can submit your name to this or whatever. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's and I don't know. I believed it in the teens or whatever, maybe because we didn't deep dive into it back then either, and this has been a conversation for 30 fucking years. I don't know. But it made sense to me then, 30 years ago, when I'm like, oh yeah, Bruno Sammartino, still lingering around in the 90s,
right.
But he was at like 480.
Yeah.
That makes sense. He had 2 matches or whatever. Okay, and I don't know. Don't even check that because that's all
right.
up in my head right now. But, something like that. But Hogan's number 1, or Flair's number 1, or Andre's number 1, or something like that. It made sense like that. And then you could just list the people. Repo Man comes in at 356. I don't know. Yes. I just can't fathom some of these.
I can't either. I don't know how they come up with any of these. Hell, even I'm not even gonna go there. Some of this list most of this list just does not translate to common day.
No, not at all.
No, it doesn't. And I think it speaks to a whole of a lot of different things in the wrestling community nowadays where it's antiquated when you look at styles of matches or rate matches or, you look through and rate your 500 best wrestlers in the world today, I think they're antiquated metrics in that regard. I'm not saying the Can Crushers 6-pack, 6 beers that we give things is the best rating in the world, but it's how we feel in the moment. It's how the things make us feel. So we're engaged in that. I think there's different ways to look at things, and that's always been my argument with a lot of the talking heads that go around, because they are stuck in the old way of business. And, well, the business is this way, you should be operating in this manner. No, the business changes. It's the same thing with the unwritten rules in baseball.
Yep.
There's some things now that should be allowed. You can't stick back. Tradition's there for a reason, to learn from, to embrace. But there's times where you adapt tradition to meet your current day. And for the sport to survive, you have to adapt and thrive.
Yep.
It's in baseball. It's in football. Football, it's been more health-related for its adaptation. We hate a lot of the calls, but it's for the safety of the players. When we talk about wrestling, you have to adapt to the style. What was a great match in the 80s was not a great match in the 90s, was not a great match in the 2000s, 10s, or 20s.
Isn't being talked about now.
Exactly. There's only one match maybe from the 80s right now that could be still considered a great match. Well, no, there's multiple. I won't say that. But the one that dropped...
I want to hear this one match.
Well, I'm correcting my statement, because you can look at the I Quit match from Funk and Flair. You can look at WrestleMania 3 with Savage and Steamboat. There's a handful that transcend time. But not the Hogan versus Andre match. That was 1 minute, 1 10-second clip that has surpassed time, not the match.
Besides the body slam, what happened in that match?
I think they went to the outside at one point. Andre held onto the ropes most of the match. That was it.
They rode the golf cart ring.
They rode the golf cart back and forth. Still the coolest fucking thing ever, and they need to bring it back. But we're digressing. But when you get to the 90s, what matches do you remember from the 90s? Austin and Brett, WrestleMania 13. Kind of dies off after that a little bit.
Brett Owen.
Brett Owen in the cage. Brett Owen from WrestleMania 10. But they center around Brett. They center around really good in-ring technicians. It's not like there's certain matches that the Hell in a Cell, for its spectacle nature. This is when the spectacle started coming into play. So it's not great match, but it's spectacles. I'm rambling, but my point is...
You're making perfect sense.
Yeah, my point is, your great matches that transcend time are what the standard bearer should be, but there's a lot of things outside of that have adapted over time and are great in that specific time frame. Today marks the 2-year anniversary of Danielson and Omega's match in AEW Grand Slam. This is a perfect example of this. The opening bell of that, goosebumps, electric, everything about it. What do you remember from that match, though? Yes, it was a great technical match, but you remember it ended in I believe it ended in a draw. But there's nothing. It was a great match, and I'm not shitting on this match. But what I'm telling you is,
because it was match of the year for one of us, I believe.
Exactly, it was a fantastic match for its time, but it didn't transcend the sport. It was a moment in that year that was so magical, and it was our match of the year for that point. In that point in time, it's just one of those things where you have to take every match that you see with a grain of salt and recognize it if it's the greatest thing. What makes it truly special? You have to adapt your antiquated ratings, your greatest in that, to be living in the moment. Because what Meltzer thinks is good is not what I think is good, is not what Chris Van Fleet thinks is good, is not what,
that to me,
JR. It depends on your scenario. And at that point, it's who's been around longer that's getting more street cred with the ratings. That's
in a couple of years, it's going to be us.
Exactly. We're halfway to 1,000.
The Bucks will be like, I want a 6-pack match. I want a 6-pack match. No more 5 stars. Well,
they're going to force us to give them a half case. Yeah. They're going to try. 55 years old, they're going to be trying to get half cases with super kicks.
Right. So, in general, the PWI 500 sucks. But there's more big news to come this week.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on this right now before we get to the week in wrestling, essentially. First and foremost, SmackDown's moving to USA.
Yep.
Next October.
And
$1.5 bajillion going to the WWE. This was what, Tuesday, right?
Yep.
This was
Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah.
And
then it came out, Raw would move from USA.
NXT.
And NXT would move from USA. And Raw may not even be on Monday nights anymore. So
That's shameful.
That is shameful. I was going to say, I just talked about history and having to adapt the styles. There's a difference between adapting your wrestling style in a staple that's been on Monday nights for ever, 30 plus years. Monday Night Raw not being Monday Night Raw anymore is
it's
just
not on USA.
And not on USA. When they did it on Spike, it wasn't the best thing.
No.
I mean, but it was still on Monday nights. So are we going to play? This is where this has been bugging me all week now. Is it going to be a Wednesday Night War? Are they going to pull the Wednesday night? They get Wednesday Night Raw versus AEW Dynamite.
By the way,
it does sound horrible, doesn't it? But are they going to do that where you're going to have the competing wrestling shows?
So they're conceding Mondays for 18 weeks of the whole year to the NFL.
Yep.
It's essentially what they're doing.
Exactly.
Because they know from September to December, they cannot win. And let's call a spade a spade. I don't think they do. I don't look at the ratings anymore. I give two shits about them. I watch.
They don't win because there's
right.
nothing. Yeah, you're not getting people away from Monday Night Football.
Right. So you're going to give up 18 weeks. You're going to give up a whole year for 18 weeks. I know that's a lot. There's probably a lot of money, but they're probably still rolling in at second.
Yeah.
As of right now, there's no TV shows on Mondays, essentially. The writers, did the writers go back to work? I heard it was close, but I don't know.
They were close, but they didn't. I didn't hear that they closed. They got it all alignment, yeah.
So we're a year from getting TV shows back. There's going to be a shitload of reality shows blowing up in the near future because reality shows a la write themselves. You can have one person there saying, hey, Jenks, go jump out into the water. Oh, go jump in the water. Oh, you're wet now. Make a mockery of that. But it's not written, so to speak.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the reality shows are going to be taking over for a while, probably a whole year, because we really haven't had, I don't know why we're going down this path, but it's stuck in my head. I have to get out. We haven't hit the major issue of the writer's strike yet because everything has been in the hopper.
Right. Yeah.
Now the fucking hopper's dry.
Yeah.
Because nothing has been written, so reality shows are taking over. There should be more wrestling, more sports or something like that because we're nerds like that on TV now. And now you're going to start shifting them. I don't know. I'm being my grandfather, or as we just talked about, tradition. I think it's a bad play to move Raw off of USA. Why can't USA have Raw and SmackDown?
Right. I don't understand.
NXT just back to, essentially it's Peacock. Listen, let's just throw it out there. Throw back to Peacock. Yeah. Everybody has fucking Peacock anymore. If anybody has one streaming service, it is Peacock. Maybe nobody has Paramount or this or that or this or that.
Right.
Everybody that I know has Peacock anymore. Some of it comes free with your subscription to this, that, or the other. Put NXT back there if that's going to be an issue. Why can't USA have them all? It's 3 different nights. We don't get CSI on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Who cares?
Yeah, you're getting live television Monday, Wednesday, Friday instead of fucking CSI, Law and Order, Chicago Fire.
Because what else is on there besides the dog? They don't even have the dog show anymore on USA.
They don't have the dog show. They have no original shows whatsoever anymore on USA.
Right.
Ms. and Mrs. and then fucking Raw. Or, yeah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So why do you want to move them? To me, it doesn't make sense. I will say this about the contract, though. That's a shit ton of money. That's a shit ton of money. So USA should be happy, this, that, or the other. On the flip side, I could see Fox now, starting maybe next week, preempting it. Oh, it's going to FS1. The writings are on the wall that they are leaving in a year. Why does Fox give two shits? And I know they still get ratings and money and everything like that for the next year. What do they care about this wrestling show now?
Yeah, they don't. Unless there's something in the contract that says we have to be on Fox. You can only preempt this a certain number of times. You're absolutely right. Fox can say, we're going to move you to FS1. It is what it is. And there you go. And that's it.
You're not going to see SmackDown promoted during NFL anymore like it has been for the first 3 years. Hey, but when Troy Aikman's like, hey, make sure you watch this Friday because Sheamus is taking on Kofi in a match. Yeah. Not butchering names because he doesn't know wrestling.
Exactly.
I don't think you see that anymore. Fox is going to pull away and say, you signed with somebody else. Why do we have to give you anything?
Yeah, we don't care. Say goodbye. Can I put something in perspective for you on the cost of this, of SmackDown to fucking USA Network? $1.5 billion. Cincinnati Bengals as an NFL franchise are only $3.5 billion. And so every 5 years, so let's do the math on this. 5 years ago when they signed it, or 4 years ago when they signed this contract with Fox, they were $1 billion. It was $1 billion contract. That means Friday Night SmackDown has gone up $500 million in just 5 years of value.
Damn.
So let's track this. Every 5 years it goes up in value. You're looking at about 15 years or so. Of course, the Bengals are going to go up in value, but it could be
not this year.
Not this year, not with the way fucking things are going now. But just think about that. If it's going up that substantially, it could start just one TV show could start surpassing NFL franchises. I wouldn't even know.
Are you saying then the Bengals are not the worst? What is the?
They are the worst according to the list that I just pulled up. So the list I pulled up, they are the lowest. They are at $3.5 billion, the worst valued franchise, I guess, lack of better terms. Second, Detroit Lions.
More than that.
Third,
that was the one.
Yeah, but you talk about the Cowboys who are $9 billion, Patriots $7 billion. You got the big hitters are up there. Bengals are $3.5 billion. I mean, if I were to look up MLB teams right now, I bet you it's 20 easily. Let me look this up because we're gonna play. Is SmackDown more valuable?
Wrestling this week is going to be quick. I honestly think we can blow through Raw and SmackDown pretty quick. The meat and potatoes of talking wrestling is going to probably be Grand Slam, so that's why we have extra time. So listen to this rant for us for a while. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pulling up a list right now, so give me a hot second, guys. Trying to get it. Here we go. I hate how they have this set up. Okay.
Is it more than 20?
It's starting to look like it. No. 10 MLB franchises.
I bet you it's more than that. They're just hiding.
According to Forbes.
Okay.
So Forbes right now, there are 10 who are less valuable than Fox right now. Do you want me to name them?
It's SmackDown, you mean?
Then SmackDown. You want me to name them?
Tampa Bay Rays. Can we play this?
We can play this. We can play this. Tampa Bay is 28 or 26 on that list. So yeah.
Detroit Tigers.
Tigers, yes, they were 21 at 1.45. So they were close, but more valuable than Tigers.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes, they're 1.
I was just holding that one off as a hometown.
So this is when I say 24th, 25th, I'm naming where they rank on the list. 24th are the Pirates, 1.3 billion. Who's
lower than Tampa Bay?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 teams. One of them.
And I'm not shitting on your team.
No. But I get that. One of them. One of the cities is. we just talked extensively about.
San Diego.
No, not that.
Oh.
I think more recently than that. Like, literally when we were talking about the NFL.
Oh, Cincinnati?
The Reds are 1.19. 28th on this list.
Fucking epicenter teams.
They reported an operating loss of $9 million last year.
What?
Yeah, there's an operating loss of $9 million on here.
How are they?
I believe I'm reading this right, and they have an operating loss of $9 million last season.
Oof.
Right?
Tampa, Cincy, Pittsburgh, Detroit.
Right. So you got 4 of the 10. One you can get right away if you think about current state of the team. In the entire shit show with the fan base that's happening now.
Yeah, God.
Yeah.
I don't even put them as a major league team anymore.
I agree, but they have 1.1.
Kansas City?
Yep, so you've named 3 of the 4 that are less than Tampa right now. So Kansas City's 1.2 billion.
All right,
0.7.
go ahead, name them then.
Miami's the last.
Oh.
$1 billion. We talked Pirates. Arizona Diamondbacks, 1.3. The Twins at 1.3.
They're clinching the Central tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Colorado Rockies, 1.475. And
again, if you guys wanted to continue doing this, we could probably name them, but
we could.
Yeah.
And I just want to give you the line where this is where it jumps over it. Milwaukee Brewers at 1.6. So they're about 100 million over it. Yeah, barely. Same with Baltimore and all that stuff. So, if you're wondering who the most valuable team is, you're nuts because you probably could have guessed it's the Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, Cubs.
Yeah,
the big players are the big players. So,
I do not do this.
We could
do NBA.
That's where it was like, we could play the NBA game, but I'm sure that one's even more fucking, you know what I mean?
Hockey, and then everybody in the soccer organization is way below this.
Oh, 100%. I don't think anybody in soccer is anywhere close to being on that list.
Where do you rank hockey? You still think hockey is the number 4 out of the top 4?
I think hockey is, but I think I think MLS is becoming more prevalent across the board. So I think hockey is a distant 4th. I think it's football, baseball, basketball, kind of in that area. I think baseball and football kind of play back and forth sometimes.
See, I was going to say it the other way. I think basketball and baseball bounce back and forth.
I could see that.
Football, I think, has the parental,
they've kind of
on it.
They've kind of knocked baseball out of it. It just depends on where things go in the season, because basketball, there's sometimes a lot of fans, sometimes not. It's depending on your stars. Like when LeBron goes, it's dropping 3 real quick.
Yeah.
When we talk baseball, it depends on what fucking Manfred does. And the blackouts and everything, it's losing more steam as we go forward. So I think it just depends. By the way, there is no basketball team under 1.5 billion. So
under?
None. There's some that are 1.6, but there's none that are 1.5. Yeah.
I'm shocked at that.
Yeah.
But, okay. All right. The next thing we have to talk about before we take a break and then slide into wrestling is releases.
Oh, yeah.
We essentially knew they were coming. We were shocked that they were this late in the year. And there's only one on this list that I'm like, wow. And it's not a disrespect. It's just some of them are of age. Some of them character development didn't work. Dolph. But Dolph could be injury related, older.
Well, yeah, with Dolph, it's been, I've kind of gone back and forth on this. It shocked me that he was released, but at the same time, you look at his comments 2 years ago, he doesn't watch anything. He doesn't even watch his matches back. He was been checked out. He's been done. He's doing his comedy shtick. It's his own thing. So Dolph didn't really get me. I think I don't consider Dolph the big one of this because I think Dolph has just been done with it for a long time and he was doing it to collect the paycheck, right? So that's why you haven't seen him in a while. Did it shock me? Yes, because he's former world champion. It's a big name. It's your big ticket item. But I'm sitting here thinking,
right?
Yeah, it's always Shanky. No, it's Dabo Kato. No, I'm just kidding. To me, and it's not the shirt I'm wearing, which I'm wearing my Elias t-shirt, guys, in honor of Elias. I shouldn't say it's a surprise. I'm very excited to see an unfiltered and character-driven, allowed to be a character-developed person. Mustafa Ali is now unhandcuffed and able to do what he wants to do. You want the hottest free agent on the list that's out there? It's Ali. Yeah. And I think to me, he had just been used on TV. It seemed like he was going to start getting
next week. He's got a North American title match.
Title match, exactly. He had that going for him. He's on TV. He had everything. He was actively he was the most active out of this whole group that's been doing shit.
Yeah.
And he got released. So the only thing I can think of is he just basically said he was going through the motions, but he said, if you're going to do releases, release me so I can do what I can do and let me go do my thing. Ollie's going to be a big free agent signing in this time, but I think after a few years being signed somewhere, they're going to come knocking again at his door.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I really do. So let's play that game. Oh, by the way, the dogs got their bark box today, so it is fucking hellfire and brimstone in this house. I can't keep them out of the studio. You can't keep them anywhere. They got a chicken and then a plush, by the way, a chicken and a bag of feed that has a seed inside of it that they discovered that the seed can be forcefully ripped out. And now they got 3 toys out of this. And they each want the same one all the time. So, yes, that's going on in the background, by the way. So let's play this game. Not with all of them, because I'm not being a douchebag. I don't care where whatever.
Kingo goes.
I don't care where he goes. I don't care where Quincy goes or Shanky or maybe even Mace. I don't care. Let's play Ali, Emma, Elias, Dolph, and for fun, Boogs. Okay? Let's start with Ali.
He's AEW bound.
Gotta be, right?
He is 100% AEW. If AEW doesn't sign him, they're just dumb at that point. I mean, every single one's going to come knocking, so maybe he does end up an Impact, but for me, if AEW is on that list, you go to AEW. You take everything to AEW. Even if they put you in ROH, you fucking run with it, because whatever he's got brewing, whatever he's going to start cooking here, it's going to be searing hot.
I want to see Ali and Scorpio Sky. That instantly, when he got released, I'm like, that's a match I want to see.
That's the one I want to see. I would love to see him, big players again. Orange. I think him and Orange would tear it down. I'd love to see him and Buddy run it back just after their 205 Live stuff, but get him against the workhorses of that company. Whew. Chef's kiss. Hell, get him against Danielson. One match. We know Danielson will probably win it, but it's going to be a fucking fire match to begin with. Him and Yuta, good lord.
He's got so many built in. He really does. And he's gotten to be. And I'm saying he's good now. At first he wasn't. He's a great talker now. So he can sell his own shit. Redemption, when he was Redemption, both.
I think Redemption, but I've always said this, and you know I've always said this, and I will say this to the day I die. Retribution could have been something special if they let. I knew what you meant, but it could have been something special if they let him cook. They didn't let him cook.
Right.
Yeah.
Emma, she left Impact to come back.
I think she's going right back to Impact, and I think she's taking Riddick Moss with her because they're fiancés. They're obviously a couple in that. I think they both end up in Impact. That just seems like the perfect fit for both of them.
Elias. I think Elias is like ML, and it's not a knock on him, is an MLW to let's rebound on the indies to build himself back up. Like, he took a fucking hit from all this character bullshit.
He did, being his own brother and shit. I think, I was going to say NWA, to be honest. I think the Indies NWA is going to be perfect because I see him in a role of EC3, more or less. But Elias has more namesake to him. Maybe I should see him more as an Aaron Stevens or a Damian Sandow type character where he had a lot of screen time. He was a good comedy act. He had a good shtick. We walk with Elias and that, but he took a fall. So now he has to show up somewhere. And I think that's kind of where I think that NWA is going to be something that kind of benefits from that.
The very first place, I'm throwing this out there, this is my prediction. The very first place he's going is back to IWC. He's going to make where
yeah.
trained.
Yep.
He's a Pittsburgh boy.
He's going to make the big stink.
Yeah, he's going to come back to IWC to do something. And I forget how releases work, and we'll get back to him here in a second. Do they now have to wait 90 days, or since they were officially released, is it you fucking go?
It's 90 days unless it's the contract runs out. If the contract runs out, it's not 90 days, but if it's a release, it's 90 days.
So we're talking middle of September, so October, November.
December. You're talking basically the new year, because none of these guys are going to start December. Maybe somebody's going to do an indie show on December 21st. I think a lot of these guys are going to be like, well, I might as well just wait the 10 days and come out January 1 or something like that. You know what I mean?
But that's where I'm going to tap around this. Why couldn't Logan Shulo, who is Elias, do something in Pittsburgh where he was trained and everything right now? It's not on TV. It's on Fight, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Not knocking IWC, but what can they possibly just do an indie, but they can't sign a real contract? Like, I would really like to talk to somebody about what they really can do. But they can't go workless for 90 days.
Excuse me. Well, I mean, I think they expect them to. I was trying to remember who I saw. I think it was Boogs. I saw a post where he's like, December 21st, I can take bookings after that date. So if you want to reach out to me at December 21st, I can take bookings on that one. Of course, that was Boogs, but...
Right. I mean,
you know...
Again, nobody's probably...
Yeah.
But let's talk about Boogs, because it's great. And I actually forgot Dana Brooke, too, which maybe we should talk about her in a minute. Dana and Dolph we can end up on.
Yeah.
But Boogs is where I instantly had NWA.
I could see Boogs there. I could see Boogs NWA. I could see him in GCW a little bit too, just kind of playing around in there. But I think Boogs can be entertaining in some capacity. So I think he just needs the right spotlight to build a character off of. I'm not saying he's going to be the Elias Ripoff 2.0 like he was in WWE, but I think if he's allowed to get something off, he's a big, strong guy, so he's going to definitely get recognition and get some screen time wherever he goes.
I'm saving Dolph. Dana. I don't know. And that's stupid to say because I think she's too big for NWA. Maybe if she's buddies with Emma, she can get a tryout. I'm sure Impact is probably clamoring. But I don't see her fitting AEW whatsoever.
To be honest, I don't see her fitting anything.
That's what I mean. I don't want to be a dick.
I agree with you, but I kind of think she's just bouncing around, and it's not like she's not. I'm not being a dick either. She has talent, obviously. She was in WWE. She did a lot of things. She was there for 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. She's almost too big for the indies. She's got athleticism in that, but she's not the name brand you think
buying
of.
a ticket.
I'm not buying a ticket for Dana Brooke. If she's there, oh, cool, Dana Brooks here. I'm buying a ticket for Cardona. So if she could follow Cardona around, I'm buying a ticket for that. Or, like, hell, even Elias. I mean, if Elias is there, I'm buying a ticket for Elias. Dana Brooke happens to be there. Oh, that's cool. I'll go. I mean, that's nice. I'll see
I'm there
her,
because
right?
somebody else is there.
Exactly. I'm there because of somebody else. She's not the main draw for it.
And then I know you kind of gave yours up on Dolph a little bit, that he has kind of been checked out, and maybe he is done. But I still think we could see him in a random role in AEW once in a while.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, his brother's there.
Right.
And I mean, his brother pissed off Punk, but Punk's gone, so that his brother's back in good graces now, I would assume. So I feel like Dolph could show up, and would I be sitting there if they gave me Dolph Ziggler, Kenny Omega? I'll watch. Fuck yeah, I'll watch. You know what I mean? It's not the same Dolph, but it's Dolph. It's
Nick.
It's Nick. It's going to be a great match. 100%. I think the biggest heartache about Dolph Ziggler is that they fumbled him from 2012 to 2014.
Yeah.
They fumbled the concussion when he was the world champion. They fumbled the whole authority, the last good, and I mean really good, storyline-driven Survivor Series team match between Team Authority and Team Cena. They fumbled the ball of how hot he was going in and out of that. The ultimate what-if guy.
Yeah. If he ever says, hey, I'm not going to go anywhere, and in 5 years I get into and I don't know, it's not 5 years, but if I go into WWE Hall of Fame, he's got a Hall of Fame worthy career.
100%.
Accolades out the ass. So if he just sits it out and says, hey, call me in 5 years, I'll be the undercard for The Rock or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's not ever going to be the headliner, but he's somebody people are like, oh, shit, cool, Dolph's getting in the Hall of Fame. He's got that. He's got a name value. And it would be cool to see him in AEW, but because I don't think he's a needle mover anymore, then that's going to probably get it. If you were like, fucking Dolph Ziggler, I would pay my mom off to go see Dolph Ziggler. Yeah.
You would for now. And he used to be, and he would be the one if he's an independent wrestling company,
right,
and he's there, you're buying the ticket for him. But not at a major company. Like I mentioned, him and Kenny Omega would be a great match I'd watch. It's not a needle mover for me, but it's a match I'd say, oh, well, they're both talented, so it's going to be at least a halfway decent match. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he's not your main draw. He's not your big ticket item anymore. He's just the big name with a Hall of Fame career that's going to be there. Yep. And if he shows up, you're going to be like, holy shit, he showed up for a day, for like a week. Yeah, exactly. And that's it. I think, I don't know if you want to say anything else on Dolph Ziggler, but no. I have to bring this up. Shelton Benjamin, I think we need to talk about where he could end up, because I think this could be, yes, he's past his prime, talk about underutilized and a lot of his athleticism and skills that he had. He's been in New Japan. I think he could end up in the AEW as well.
Coach.
And coach.
Kind of like what Madison Rain, Serena Deeb.
Exactly.
Is a giant. Paul White, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Yes, all of them do that. They get a one-off match every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yes.
He's going to end up, I think he ends up in AEW, because who wouldn't want Shelton?
Right.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I could see him as a coach. I think he gets a short run in singles. He's not going to take any titles off anybody, but he's going to be a good surprise opponent for somebody under the sun. Hell, even if he shows up in ROH as a coach and does a lot of the challenges for the ROH stuff, that'd be fantastic as well.
Yeah. Nothing really was surprising of the. You know what was surprising, actually? That there wasn't more. And that's a dick move to say, because there's so many people that are like, oh, I forgot about Shanky. So I'm not sad. I forgot about Shanky. I forgot about Dabo. Or how do you say his name? Because I don't care.
Daba Kato.
Yeah,
General Aziz, if you're dirty, I guess. I don't know. He has so many goddamn names.
Right. But there's more. There's a litany more that I forgot. They're like, whoa.
Some of these people I had no idea existed, and that's bad to say, but I just didn't know about them because they were either on Level Up or they were on, you hear Quincy Elliott because he's a different character.
Right.
Not he, sorry. They're a different character.
I apologize.
So Quincy Elliott, apologies on that. Quincy Elliott, they're a different character, so they're something new to experience, so you hear more about them. It's marketing on that one. We're bringing it back to marketing. That's probably going to be in the name now of the show for this week. But, well, let's talk marketing that doesn't work in that regard, and I know we're going down the list. We didn't mean to. But Mrs. 317,
right?
Yeah, which was I think a little surprising. 10 years, you put the whole 317 gimmick around her. She was recovering from injury, and they're like,
"See ya,
bye, Felicia."
Yet marketing hatred is probably what this is going to be, because you're talking about marketing. I keep getting hate on me. Natty Neidhart could have been released 5 years ago.
Agreed.
She's there because she's a heart. That's fucking it.
Agreed. And that's the only reason she's also getting title shots and anything else under the sun.
But she's never going to win anything again.
No. Never going to win anything. Not going to be.
She just has the most matches of anybody in WWE history.
Yeah.
Till she leaves on a sour note, and then somebody's going to wrestle 100 matches in one night. Just to fucking start knocking her down the pillar.
Well, to that point, Seth Rollins can't be that far behind her.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, to me, Natty is, if she left tomorrow, nobody would care. Nobody would care.
I'll say it. Care.
I'll say it too. Care. Everybody, I could hear everybody losing with an exhaustive, even though I was dead asleep when she wrestled Becky for the NXT women's title, I could probably hear a deep sigh of, are you fucking kidding me? When she came out for that. God.
Corn.
There. Fuck. Right? You know, that type of thing. And it's like, sometimes we just gotta let them go. If they're not producing high quality matches or getting people jazzed up, then it's time to let them walk. Yeah. I mean, nothing against Natty. She was talented.
Nothing against
her, but she has never that one to be the person that everybody really cares about and puts a lot of stock behind. To your point, you get the name family, the family value, the family recognition on the name value alone. It's marketing.
Last thing I want to talk about before we get into, and this is going to be a quick one. WWE has put in a litany of, this is the longest intro we've done in
I know, it's
3 years.
Like we're an hour and a half.
Right. So the other ones are going to be short. Jada Parker, Out of the Mud.
Oh,
OTM.
yeah.
Everybody's thinking it's going to be Cargill.
Yeah.
Watch, it's going to be somebody completely different.
I'm really hoping it's somebody different, because if they try to put Out of the Mud on Jade Cargill, I don't even know where to fucking begin with that.
Right.
I don't know why I'm losing my voice, but I don't even know where to go with that on that regard.
I understand it's her name and they want marketing. Again, marketing. Is what it's all about. But I sometimes it's like, and I hope I'm pronouncing Jada, Jaida is.
I think it's Jada. Like, I don't hate the name Jada Parker. It's the trademarks that come with it that are like.
If it is, right.
If it is, it's like, that's what you're going with?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. All right. This is going to be quick. Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads. Go follow us. All of it's at CanCrusher69. We're not even paying the bills because Al Snow has Collar and Elbow. What's the promo code?
It's Can Crushers. Get 10% off.
And then you can listen to us where?
On Spotify, Stitcher, yada, yada, yada. But Podurama, you get a lifetime, I think it's going on right now, lifetime discount if you sign up for a lifetime membership. I think it's, believe, 50% off. Is that correct? Am I good on that? Yeah. So Podurama, see us. We're linked with everything under the sun.
Don't forget we have a WWEshop.com. If you're buying anything, I've said this in a couple spotlights already, and I haven't said it on the regular show. Christmas is right around the corner. So if you're going to start buying shit for the kids or yourself or whatever, please use that. It helps. It will save money on some things. It won't save some money on the other things. It does help out the podcast. You listen to us, so just use our fucking promo code to do that on WWEshop.com too. Right? Right.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Left.
Wow. Here comes Al Snow to tell you more about Collar and Elbow, and then when we come back, we'll start with WWE since we just shit on them on the releases and making a ton of money, and then we'll end up with Grand Slam, essentially.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey everybody, this is referee Ryan Martin, and thank you for listening to Can Crushers Podcast.
Welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling fans. It's Mark, it's Mike. Long first segment, got into over all of that. We're going to dive into professional wrestling. We'll start with WWE first. You ready, Michael?
I am ready. But apparently WWE just loves us because they gave us another release while we're sitting here talking through the litany of other releases that we had going on.
For real?
Yeah. Matt Riddle is no longer a part of WWE. The bro is gone. He put it on his Instagram about 14 minutes ago, roughly for us. Gonna be honest, saw the writing on the wall. And I'm not heartbroken over this whatsoever.
Dude, I've fucking hated this guy from number one as character development and everything. And then he's got, we all have skeletons. Yeah. He's got a sketchy skeleton in his closet. A lot of things in his personal life. So I shouldn't go there. And I know, but yeah, he's been a, punk in the WWE locker room.
He has been a punk in the WWE locker room. He's been a major one for many years now. He's from his outside personal life to poking bears that he shouldn't be poking to just taking in a lot of the extracurricular activities that he can, just really breathing in more than he could probably chew for the most part is what we'll go with there. But
I'm not saddened at all by this. I have probably the biggest smile. Well, not of the podcast because just seeing you, and it sounds there's something else you guys can clip. Put a smile on my face every Friday. But yeah, this is good.
Yeah,
good.
I think I'll say this, and we can leave it on this note. I think you are seeing TKO take care of a lot of PR nightmares in this regard, starting with this one. Because I don't think, you look at the list of releases yesterday, there wasn't really anybody that was a PR nightmare for them. I don't think that was the case.
Can't jump over the top rope.
Top Dollar, because he would have caused so much trouble for Michael Cole just making fun of him every week. They had to get rid of Top Dollar. But I don't think anybody on that list. I think now you're going to start seeing where we're clipping out things that could be very much PR nightmares. We talked about marketing and tying right into it. You can't market somebody that's not
marketable.
And when he's doing things that aren't marketable, you can't defend it, then you lose track of that. Now, a lot of it unsubstantiated, what it is, you report what you know. What we know is there's a lot of things that he's done in his past that have not been marketable, and it's kind of transcended with him having time in UFC now being merged with WWE. I think the writing was on the wall for him that was going to be the case. Likewise, other things have trickled out. We won't get into detail, but
you can find them.
You can find them, and statements have been made. So they're going to be trimming a lot of PR nightmare fat over the coming weeks and months as we get closer and closer to the new year, because I do think this is going to start being a more renaissance of what WWE is going to be starting fresh 2024. There's going to be a lot different from what there is right now.
And not a lot to say on Riddle.
No.
It is what it is. And you shouldn't live your life like him or by saying it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it makes sense. It probably should have happened under the old regime. It really has. I do have a question, and we kind of, before I hit record again for a second segment, how long before Vince gets his release?
I think it's coming, and I think they're getting ducks in alignment. I honestly think by 2020, by the turn of the calendar year, he's no longer with TKO. He was the reason they brought him back, per se. He came back to sell the company at that point.
That's it.
That was
it. We said
it.
that on the podcast.
Yep, that's what he was there for. He thinks he'll be there for longer. I don't think that's the case. I think TKO is more or less like we can justify it with, we can justify the purchase with you on board, but after that, we don't need you to continue forward. They have their chips in place. They know who they have, and they know Hunter, Nick Khan are going to be a good two guys to really work with for themselves and work with what the company needs. You could see it at the press conference, or not at the press conference, the stock exchange when they announced everything. You saw Nick, you saw Triple H really chumming it up with Dana White and all of these guys. Vince is off to the side. Somebody else is off to the side. Like, oh, we're just kind of chopped liver just being here kind of thing. So
when does Steph come back then?
Next year, I think. I think
once
Vince.
Her dad's gone.
Once her dad's gone, and they could get rid of Vince here maybe after the Saudi show, and then be like, okay, well, thank you, bye.
Saudi too. Peace out.
Yeah, peace out. We're done with this. We're cutting that. Steph's back beginning of the year, and then everything's hunky dory. Because that is legitimately the only reason Stephanie McMahon is not with the company right now is because her dad's there.
Yeah.
Once Vince is gone, she's back.
In the locker room is just a shit show right now. People have been, if you're reading the dirt sheets and everything, and I know you just come to us to listen to us regurgitate some of them sometimes, but some of them they have stock, and they have said, since Steph has left, definitely on the women's side, the roster is fucking at each other.
Yep.
Essentially. That's not the exact words, but essentially putting it in layman's terms, at each other. Steph never let that shit go on.
No. Because she had control of the women's locker room. She had control. She could model them to be, listen, we're here to be together. We're here to go forward as a unit to lead, essentially. They don't have that anymore. It's now you kind of have to fight for your spot because you don't have enough screen time anyways.
Right.
So that's kind of why a lot of them are at each other's that's probably why a lot of things have been kind of let loose and happening, and a lot of injuries are happening because people are getting reckless because they don't need to care anymore, essentially. And the biggest concern of injury or recklessness has been re-released on the company, and now you're seeing the trickle-down effects of it impacting your champion, impacting this and impacting that.
We'll get there. Yeah.
We'll get there. Yeah.
One more thing I want to bring up that actually blew my mind, and I know we say we don't talk personal once in a while, but this one just was, and I should have prefaced this one, not that we do notes or anything, but at least brought up that I was going to talk about it. Linda and Vince have been married forever.
Yeah.
And this came from Notable. They haven't lived together since 2006.
Yeah, I guess they've been separated that whole time.
Oh. That was like the last time, and I don't know this verbatim again, like the last time that Linda was on TV. Probably.
It was, because that was right around when they came back to USA.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she came back for the first night back, Austin's Thunder, and that was it. Yeah.
And then she off into the horizon. Like, I knew you read, I don't know because I don't know them personally, but you read from people that are right underneath their thumbnails, they have a rocky relationship. Holy Christ, I didn't know that they've just been, here's your mansion, here's my mansion, we'll stay married for the benefits. Essentially, because
benefits and photo ops.
Yeah, we're poor and we have to work the system.
It's benefits and photo ops at that time, because right now, man, I'm really glistening in this light show. I don't know why, but yeah, it's only for photo ops, because you think about it, they did the photo op when she became small business leader. They were together. Yeah, they were together. They did this. They did that. I mean, you don't know people's personal lives, but I think a lot of things make more sense now when you start hearing, well, they've been separated since 2006, and he's had these allegations since then, and then 2006. His daughter wants nothing to do with him, and pretty much a lot of other people don't want anything to do with him, and now he's turned into a goddamn Boris from Rocky and Bullwinkle villain with that damn pencil mustache.
I don't know which one of his PR people said, yeah, Vince, do that. All right.
He's Vince McMahon, damn it. Did you see he said he could live to 120 or 130? He told somebody he was going to do that.
Yeah. You know what? And he's somebody, between him and Hulk Hogan, both, by the way, I'm going to be a mark that I always am. I still want their autographs, but I'm not paying for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're so dirty in wrestling right now that they've done everything from my childhood. Vince being a commentator until now, the dirtbag that he is. You give me a Vince McMahon autograph where he's wearing the blue blazer at ringside.
Oh, yeah.
Being the announcer, I want it. I don't want a picture of him now, because that just rekindle way too much. Same thing with Hogan. I want red and yellow Hogan of WrestleMania 1 to whatever. I don't want when he starts turning into a dirtbag Hogan. And I know personal life may have been that the whole time or anything, but autographs that I always want, those are two that I want, but they better be part of a bundle package and I get nothing.
Well,
all right.
Listen, brother, I mean, never mind. I'm not even going to make the joke.
So you heard us last week a little bit on episode 500.
Oh, wait, before we jump into it, I have this note written and I have to do it still. We still need to play what Hulk Hogan said versus things I've made up. So I'm working on that.
We do, yeah.
I did say it where I'm working on that. So I think we said that a couple weeks ago. So I am working on that. Give me time. I'll have something drawn up here soon, I think.
Well, that was kind of, I wasn't going to bring it up last week, but that was kind of something we were going to do when we were together. And kind of the mockery of the day after 500 to throw it in this, that, or the other is a buffer to have it in our pocket to use when I needed a spotlight.
Right.
You fucked that up by getting sick. So
I know.
I'm not throwing you under the bus or anything. But
listen, brother, I get it.
It's coming though, because I really want to do it. I think every once in a while we do a spin-off of that takes over a spotlight or something where we deep dive into somebody's life or career or something and find mockeries of it. So great added bonus. All right. I just lost my notes. All right. You heard us talk about Pat McAfee and The Rock last week as we were on episode 500.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to break down SmackDown verbatim because there's a couple things that are like, oh, yeah, that's great. But I want to talk about the following week and then of things that were said about The Rock. Not that he's getting death threats, but holy fuck, people are pissed off at The Rock now in the wrestling business because he gave away that it's coming. The Roman Rock match. I know that we've all put the pieces together that it is coming. They're now pissed for Cody.
Yeah.
Because if anybody, what The Rock said has fucked Cody. We're probably not getting Cody Roman at 40.
There's just no way unless they do it in a way that's kind of like night one's Cody and Roman and then night two's Rock and Roman. But even then it's kind of, you're ruining one or the other. Right. So what's your game plan here? What are you going to do? Kind of thing. I mean, I was excited that he admitted it, but I kind of get the anger about it from wrestling fans where it's like, we need to finish the story. We can't push it off to 41 because it has no meaning after that. If Rock beats him at 40, the story has no meaning later on.
Cody's just been a pawn.
Exactly. And even then, you can't have him defeat him on, I'm adjusting my monitors too, by the way, so I can have a normal face talking to Mark. But you can't have Cody beat him off of a WrestleMania like a Survivor Series because that doesn't. You can't have him beat him at a Fastlane or at Saudi or anything like that because it takes away from what the story truly was. Your hard time story now has being taken away. Essentially, if you have him win it at a Survivor Series and then he loses the Rock, Cody loses the Rock at Rumble, and it goes back to Roman at WrestleMania, that fucks that whole storyline royally.
I think we already see it happening because, no disrespect to KO and Sammy and everybody, like Cody's back into something with Dom now.
Yep.
We all love to hate Dom. Dom is the hottest motherfucker in WWE, without a doubt. I mean motherfucker in a derogatory way in wrestling. Yeah. It's not. There's no piece of this book that's going the right way now.
Mm-mm.
And I think Monday, essentially when we get to Raw, they had to play Damage Control. And not Bailey, Io, and Dakota. They had to play Damage Control to, oh shit, we should have told Rock not to open his mouth. But The Rock's his own entity. He can say whatever he wants.
Yeah. And to that point, you can't control Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee is on his show. Nobody can control Pat McAfee, but to that point, Pat McAfee's show is there to get viewers and ratings. That's why that first week of Pat McAfee being on ESPN, I think last week was the first week, was all on. We have The Rock. We have prime time. We're giving away money. We're giving away scholarships. AJ Hawk's throwing balls, trying to sink them for scholarships. We're doing all of these great things because you have to hype the show and you have to get viewers in there. So, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in that regard. And to your point, you don't control The Rock. You don't control what comes out of his mouth or the PR that's coming out of his mouth. And for Pat McAfee, you don't control what's not on your programming.
Is he even under contract anymore?
I think he's
or is he doing everything like on a favor, or probably getting money? Don't get me wrong.
Well, yeah, he's getting money. I think he's still technically under contract because I think he signed a 3-year deal with WWE. So that's probably coming up soon here, or it's delayed because he's doing college football and he's doing this and doing that. So he has to come back and fulfill those rights at some point. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I was going to make a comment about, like, with The Rock and that. Let's take this one step further from those comments, though. He said they were close, but something happened that something that happened was Vinnie Mac and everything that happened with Vinnie Mac. If you want to call a spade, it wasn't creative differences, I don't think. I think it was, I can't touch this situation, so I can't be a part of this thing, or this match right now.
His allegations and everything is essentially what we're
we're going back to the allegations, but I think that's what stopped 39 from happening, Brock and Roman.
Yeah, and you have Hollywood saying, no fucking way you're going back. And I'm going to say this as Hollywood maybe, or somebody that doesn't know Cena starting off right the fucking bat on SmackDown. That's what's going to happen for the next 8 weeks of SmackDown, by the way.
Yeah.
Hollywood is bajillion dollars. I know we just talked about everything in the hour and a half intro that we had.
Right.
But Rock would never get a movie again if something aligns with WWE.
Exactly.
And that's his career.
And his PR team's like, you don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Hollywood's more valuable than whatever you're getting from that group right there. And so he's like, all right.
Let's just throw numbers against the wall.
Yeah.
He would have did 39, he gets $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do they give $1 million for a one-off? I don't know. He's recording the next Fast and Furious. Again, I don't know what he's recording. He gets $10 million for that.
Yeah.
Where is he going?
You go get his money.
Yeah.
You go get your money. You go.
You go.
You go. Oh my God. We've gone so long that we've just broken down completely on this. You go get your money and you go do things that make sense for your financial well-being and that make you look like a good person. Everything's lining up. The stars lined up for him this past week because A, they sold the TKO. B, we're on a writer's strike, so Rock's got nothing to do but twiddle his thumbs at home. C, he needs some sort of good press.
We're just happen to be in Denver.
We're an hour away from Denver and Boulder, Colorado. And D, I got to get some good publicity because I kind of screwed up that Maui thing a little bit a couple weeks ago. So let me go to Denver and get some cheap pops here and go throw Austin Theory around for a little bit and get a win on an Austin that he knows he can get. But
it worked though, by the way.
It did work. It 100% worked. Everybody popped. Everybody loved him, and he was back to being a Rock. So it's a win for him.
Right.
And if you don't, they carefully vetted that. They realized that they were going to be in the same place, same time, and everybody's like, "Okay, you can touch this with the 10-foot pole now."
Yeah.
So
Vince isn't going to Boulder, so you're good.
Good. Yeah. Vince isn't going to be in Denver. He's not going to be in Boulder. You'll be fine. So, yeah.
And as we said last week, because of the writer's strike, I think we do see him popping up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder. I really wonder if it's just like, hard times is washed away. To me right now, as deep as Cody's away from Roman, it takes longer than they have to get hit, unless it's a Rumble win again. Yeah. Honestly, unless it's a Rumble win again, you're going to need to tell me that it needs to get closer to Roman.
We still don't know what happened with how Jay ended up on Raw. I get he quit and they're calling it the signing. I still feel like that's their out for the Jay deal, is that Cody Rhodes contract was put up for SmackDown type thing. Like, there's a way they can play that where Cody Rhodes ends up on SmackDown with Roman without having to win the Rumble. Or it's a favor type, or there's some sort of working there. Because to me, Jay can say he quit WWE, but the contracts, and I use air quotes
out the ass,
are saying he's on SmackDown. So he just left SmackDown, and I'm wondering if they're like, well, we got to pull some strings. If you're going to go to Raw, you need a reason to go to Raw, or we need something to bring back to SmackDown to kind of be comparable. I think that's their outlet for it.
It makes perfect sense. I was writing down marketing releases in air quotes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I like that.
Because I've been doing them over here as well.
Oh, you know what? We won't talk about that yet. Let's go. Move forward.
Listen, what else do you want to talk about on SmackDown? The Miz and LA Knight had a great match. LA Knight gets a win. Pretty Deadly is coming back soon. Asuka and Bayley, good match. It was more of a fight. The best thing of this, and this is horrible, Asuka's fucking mask was amazing. I love that's probably one of my favorite masks.
I love that mask.
When was the last time you saw somebody win with a goddamn backslide? That made me pop more than anything else on the show.
It made me, I loved it, but I was also like, why wouldn't you just put her in the Asuka lock? you right?
I know.
But like to me, it was
right there.
I love the backslide, but any other time that situation arises, she's putting him in the Asuka lock.
Right.
To me, it was just like, well, why didn't we just use her finisher? But hey, you know what? Backslide, I'll give it to her. Somebody fucking won with one. Now we have to buy in that it could.
Well, that's what it means.
Yeah.
This was a precursor for probably nothing with, being a dick, nothing with the women. This is for something down the line. Probably on Raw, and I have my theory that it's going to be Gable and Gunther.
Okay. Just a quick.
It worked for Asuka and Bayley, legends, right?
Yep. Yeah.
This would be a legendary win over Gunther if Gable, when it happens, wins it this way. I don't know why it went to that, but I'm like, wait a minute. You don't do a backslide victory without 30 years of not doing a backslide victory, and you bring it back. You barely get one out of backslide victory.
Yeah.
So this means something.
Yeah, and you know what they're going to do to that point? They'll sprinkle in a couple near falls with it. Like when it's Asuka and Io tonight, or for you guys last night, there's going to be that fall in there because Asuka beat Bayley with it, so Io's going to be, it's going to be a little quick turnaround, 2 count, whatever. I could see that, but would you be upset if it wins that way, if the Intercontinental title changes? At the end of Gunther's legendary reign ends on a backslide.
Not at all. Because I'm so, and this is mean, I'm so over Gunther having it because titles are
past it.
He's past it now.
Yeah.
Like he's been past it probably for me for 2 months.
Yeah.
Plus he beat the fucking record, so that also pisses me off. So he can lose it by, I don't know, if Outback Jack comes out and takes him out or whatever. He's done. He can't do anything more than the title. The title can't do anything for him. He is beyond it.
Well, he's reached the point of when he loses, it'll be a shock, but if he loses, he doesn't lose anything by it.
Right.
He's eclipsed that point where he doesn't get hurt in it. Like on Raw, though, when we talk about Gable losing to Bronson Reed, that was like, the fuck? Why would you book that? Because that kind of stunts Gable a little bit in that regard. I get you're pushing Bronson in that. I think that stumps Gable a little bit, but go on.
I'm glad. Whatever you want to talk about WWE, let's just throw it up because you brought up Gable.
Yeah.
Okay. Gunther's probably not losing the IC match. He's losing the title. This is going to be a 4-way for the title.
Yeah. Okay. So your thought is, if Gable's winning it, he's not pinning Gunther.
Right.
He's pinning somebody else.
Ciampa.
Okay.
Who's now thrown his fucking name into the hat of wanting the title on Monday night. I know he's had an issue with Kaiser, and they beat Vinci this week, and So now he wants Gunther. Okay.
Yeah.
So, or it's a 3-way because Bronson just pins. So no matter what, maybe this is Gunther's. He loses the title in this triple threat match because he's not even in a ring because Ciampa attacks him. Gable gets his comeuppance by pinning Bronson to get that victory, erases that loss. Yeah, because you could see Bronson losing with a backslide. He's a big man. It's like, oh God. Marketing releases hatred in air quotes.
Yeah.
Because Bronson Reed's a turtle on his back. He's a big man. It's going to take him a hot second to get up, and if you put him in a backslide, he's kind of stuck.
Well, let's take it one step further. What's the cool spot is if Gable somehow hits fucking chaos theory on Bronson, right? He's stacked. He can't get off his shoulders. It's a cool spot. It's a title win. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I buy that.
So Gunther's not losing because I saw this. This came to play Monday night for me.
Okay.
When Gable and Bronson, like, all right, whatever, he's got to build himself back up. And then the next segment was like, Ciampa was like, I'm coming for you, Gunther. I'm like, oh. And then Bronson beat Gable. I'm like, Gunther's not losing.
Yeah.
Match, but he's losing the title.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're going back to the old school mentality. You lose a 4-way, you lose the title in a 4-way, you still come out smelling like roses on the other side because you weren't the one pinned. It was somebody else. I will say, when then
real quick, the following night, if this is probably your point you're going to be making, the following night, he bumps into Seth getting a fucking Coke in the back room, so he forgets that he ever had the IC title, and he's just challenging Seth right off the bat.
Right. No, that's fair.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah. I think he's taking it off Seth whenever that comes up to fruition. But my thought process went to, you kind of at that point take the handcuffs off the IC title picture. And here's why I say that. Gunther, phenomenal wrestler, yes. But there's so many workhorses under him that are clamoring and trying to get up in the picture right now that you need to uncap it and move him out of it, put him where he needs to be in the world title picture. That's why you saw Shinsuke move back into the world title picture, is because whether you believe Shinsuke is built up or not, Shinsuke is bigger than what the IC title is. He just by name recognition when he came in, he was a world champion contender. That was his goal. Vince shoehorned him into the lower mid cards, but really he needs to be in that upper echelon. So that's why he's a challenger to Seth's title. But now you're going to see the guys like Ciampa, the guys like Gable, the guys like Bronson Reed, who's going to be the big monster heel that's going to be thwarting people, but also the guys like Gargano when he comes back, and people of that nature start really putting on these 5-star classic matches because they're finally uncapped and they can have so many multiple of them moving into the picture, in and out, all around. The IC title is going to come back and be that workhorse title that's going to get thrown around every couple months by different people. And we're going to sit here and clamor and love it because it's going to be so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
As much as it's been a cool run. And I'm not going to knock it. It is what it is for it, and it's cool. But I didn't want the record to be broke. I will beat that to a dead. But for real, he's just that big of a man, powerful of a man, name value of a man. He's got to be a main event match when you go back over across the ocean in this.
Yeah.
Like, they're waiting for him. He held the UK title for how fucking long? So now you're telling me the NXT UK title, he got dropped down to IC? Like, I don't think he's ever should have been there. He should have, but the Bloodline had that story going, this, that, and the other thing. I understand why they did it, but I don't think Gunther, Walter, whomever, should have ever been around that mid-card era.
I agree, because he was too past it.
Yeah.
But to your point, when the bloodline is chokeholding all the major titles, you can't do anything but give them the Intercontinental title at that juncture.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the secondary title. We've all come to agree that is the secondary before this new world championship. It was the secondary title.
Yeah.
The U.S. title is definitely, and I hate to say this, entry level.
Oh, yeah.
And because the U.S. title is a WCW title they just brought over.
Right.
They still shit on the U.S. title more than any other title. Well,
all of them. And let's be honest, the only reason it's really been brought back is because it's U.S. title. It's the United States title. That is legitimately the only reason it's been brought out of mothballs and is used. That's it. Because if it was like anything else from WCW, it would have been left in a box to rot in a corner if it was any other name but that. Because that's why you don't see a television title anymore.
And that's a shame.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, jumping all over, and I know we do want to talk about somebody who's just a nuisance and shocked. I know you slept through Raw, but when you watched Raw, were you happy that you slept through Raw?
Yeah. I'm not gonna deny that.
Like a lot happened, but nothing fucking happened. They filled 3 hours of show.
They did. They filled 3 hours of show. It was essentially fill 3 hours of show and get us to a point 5, right? That was it.
I like how you put that. At least in my head, they never made it to B.
They never made it to B. They never progressed it to something. It was only, we have to get through this week.
I love that, by the way. That is a great fucking synopsis of it.
That's just the way it was. I mean, we just had to get through this week. And, I mean, we already talked about Becky and Natalya, but that was essentially get the NXT title on Raw because Becky won it. So let's get it on Raw. It essentially came out that they gave Natty the title shot because she filled in for Becky overseas. But that was it. I mean, there was no storyline progression in that. It was only to get the title on Raw. And you saw that with every little thing of this. It was, we need to get this fucker some screen time, and we gotta get this fucker some screen time, and I'm using fucker loosely here, but I'm just saying.
Naya's gotta hurt somebody.
Naya's gotta injure some other person on Raw besides our champion, so we're gonna give her screen time, then we're gonna give this person screen time. By the way, Stevie Richards.
I love this. Thank you. I was actually in my notes.
I love this too. Stevie Richards was not letting her get through anything. Mm-mm. Not even her first date back. He was on her like nothing. And if you guys haven't seen it, look up Stevie Richards. He breaks down how she was being unsafe in her first night back with Raquel, and then what she did to Rhea with the bonsai drop. It was perfectly summarized by Stevie Richards of, you can't do this. You have to hold the ropes. You have to do this. You have to do that. He walked through it, and it was well done by Stevie Richards.
It was amazing. He pauses it and says, look, her feet are already on the ground. Why is she letting go of the ropes?
Yep.
Which takes a lot of the force and weight, but she legit threw herself on Rhea, hurting her ribs.
Yep.
They fucking won! How many times is she going to get a shot?
Well, it can't be too much because Rhea down. Raquel, she flattened her right on top of it. Samoan drop, that your ass has to fall at the same time or before your shoulders fall with that person, so your ass absorbs the weight of everything going on. You're falling right on top of her, you're fucking that person. And then with the Rhea thing, that was the damn near most injured somebody's gotten from a bonsai drop than when Yoko squashed that guy for bad mouthing Fuji backstage.
Yeah.
Right? Because Yoko did that on purpose. Everybody else, he was very gentle. He took care of. That one guy fucked with Fuji and he got fucking squashed and nearly died. Nia, on the other hand, though, it wasn't that. It was, we just don't know how to do a bonsai drop well enough, or we didn't know how close to bring Rhea. Because, two, if you watch that back again, Rhea's so far away from that corner that you have to stretch to reach her.
I mean, so you look at it both ways. Whose
fault is it? You could play it both ways, but I think at the end of the day, if you're the person executing the move, at least this is how I would see it. If I'm the person doing the bonsai drop, it's my job to protect the person underneath there. And that's why Yoko, every time he had somebody in the corner, he made sure they were snug up by the arm. He snugged them where he needed them to be.
He would
pull them where he needed them, he would drop on them. But he would be able to hold the rope to absorb everything. With Nia, you have to do the same thing too. It's those little, taking it one step further, that protects everybody involved. And Rhea's on Raw this week, talking to everybody and doing her normal shtick with Dom.
Yoko did it, if it was a punch or a body slam or whatever, it was, when he did it, it meant more to see him drag that lifeless body over, because he's just going to do the Mortal Kombat finisher. Yeah. I don't remember how Rhea ended up there off the top of my head.
I don't either.
Did she just take a punch and that's where she fell?
Yeah.
Again, like you said, Nia has to know, listen, I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not jumping from the foul line to across the ring.
Right.
I don't want to break her head, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do? Listen. I don't know if I can say this correctly because I don't know. She just seems ill-trained. And I know she comes from the fucking family, so I'll never be able to talk to Rock or Roman or people like that because I just threw shade on them. I just don't know if she ever got the proper training. She just seems like she's completely reckless from day one.
Yeah. Well, it's 100%. I think you're accurate on that. And let's take it the next point is she's reckless day one. You would think your first night back, you would want to do everything perfect, because it's not even that you have the reputation of being reckless. It's the fact that you should know everybody and their mother, from well-known industry vets to schmucks like you and me, are going to pick you apart at every little move you do with your track record in history. I sat over here talking like I knew how the bonsai drop worked. I just noticed how Yoko does it and noticed how he protects people. And I watched Stevie Richards' video. Yes, I'm using Stevie Richards as a reference here, but
it's a great reference.
It was a great reference. He walked you through how it should go, how you should do it to protect your people. It was a very good reference. I think that's where people can be educated, where, at least in my case, I'm educated schmuck in saying, I know. Thank you. I watch somebody that's a professional explain to me how this should work, and this is how they should be protecting them. I'm going to look at the way you work with a very close eye, because I'm afraid that the workers that I love and follow are in danger. Yeah. I mean, it dates back with probably before Becky for a lot of people, but when the biggest one was when you recklessly just punched Becky Lynch. Yes, it's centered to the absolute fucking universe, stratosphere, everything with the visuals you provided her. But it ruined a one-on-one match that was that following week, and it sent everything back.
Oh, in turmoil.
And then there were so many other incidents that came up that when you finally do come back after having a long extended absence where you're trying to stay out of the spotlight and that you go right back to your normal things, to your normal reckless ways, it really makes me think, hey, maybe she's just too much adrenaline's going on right now for her to think straight in that ring. Is there a way to calm that down? Make it so she can be more calm in the ring, more, how do you subdue that? Because I feel like a lot of these things that happen is because you're just not able to control what your body does.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
That's the only thing I can think of is maybe you're just too amped up and you can't control what you can do going forward.
Yeah. Do you have anything else on WWE that we want to chat about?
No, nothing else on WWE. I think we gave a good synopsis of it this week.
We did.
Yeah.
I like that. We're going to get, because it's already in the hopper, so I normally don't completely tell you guys who's coming on the spotlight. I like it being surprises for you guys and everything. But we're going to end Suicide Awareness Month here in September. And I'm telling you now, there are trigger warnings in this next spotlight that we're going to have with the Chainsaw Queen, Black Dahlia. Suffers from CRPS. I knew I would say it wrong. Suffers from CRPS. Okay? Unbelievable, crippling disease for anyone, especially though somebody in the wrestling business. So you listen to this, make sure if you get triggered by stuff, because this will be completely unedited. Okay? I don't want to take any of the feelings out, anything that you get from when we spoke the other night. It is unbelievable. I asked her if she wants to stop and then kind of make up. I didn't want her not to tell her story, but I wanted her story out. Do you want to take a minute to shift to something else? She wanted to power through this and everything, other thing. So listen to it. It's amazing. 6 years in a wheelchair, not cleared yet to be back in the ring or anything like that. I'm not going to give you everything away, but and then we get into nonsensical stuff as we normally do. But this Wednesday is pretty fucking powerful, so make sure you listen to that. Yeah, and then I don't know how to end this because it's crazy. Against September ends Suicide Awareness Month, and we wouldn't do our due diligence if we wouldn't say, guys, there's a ton of resources out there. There's NAMI, there's the hotline that you can call. There's people that love you no matter what. Again, our hotline's open, our whatever. Just reach out to your loved ones, and there you have somebody there.
Yeah. Reach out to your loved ones. I'm looking forward to hearing her story on Wednesday during the spotlight and that. Guys,
play it during your conference, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, I have free time Wednesday afternoon after the conference wraps up and that, so there's points of time at this conference I'm just planning on holding up in my room and just not doing anything. I know what you meant. But honestly, guys, at the end of the day, be safe, be good to yourself. People are out there who will love you, will support you, will be with you, no matter what you're going through. And we're going to on Wednesday, there's going to be probably a lot of examples of something that you may not have thought of that could trigger a lot of these feelings, a lot of these mental states, a lot of things. Any little thing can set it off. It's a culmination of things. It's never just one thing. It's always a culmination of events that kind of just drive you to a point of no return, if you will. And I say that in a generalization. I'm sure there's exceptions to that, but at the end of the day, be good to yourself. If you need something to reach out, be there for somebody in need if they need you, and if you can, whatever that may be, just help out your fellow man, but also reach out if you need it. Because at the end of the day, people do love you, and people do care and will want the absolute best for you, no matter what.
Agreed. So, yeah, we'll be back with AEW in a nutshell. We love you.
What's going on, you guys? It is the cutie with the booty, hottie with the body, thong-wearing, chainsaw-wielding Scream Queen, the Chainsaw Queen of professional wrestling, the Black Dahlia, and I am on Can Crushers podcast, and these weirdos are talking about giant dick monsters.
I don't know where she got big cock monsters from, but I do not attest that we have beat up any or played with any.
Right? She goes from putting us on again. It's the women on here.
They attack.
Sarah Bubbles, hey, don't let anybody burst your bubble, this, that, or the other thing, but I'm gonna fucking burst yours. Back in the day, Shauna Reed shits on me because I like Joe Jonas, and now the Chainsaw Queen, Black Dahlia, is saying we're playing with cock monsters. What? By the way, what is that?
I don't know.
I don't know what she's looking up.
Without the context, I'm assuming it's like talking about Gritty or some shit like that.
But do you want to search that up? Like,
no,
then
I'm not going to search
link
that
to your name.
Yeah, I'm not searching that.
Yeah.
It's already linked to our name now.
Yeah, it's clearly linked to us.
Big cock monster. We've said it 14 times in the past 3 minutes since that played, or a minute and a half, whatever it's been. Oh my god! Well, hey, welcome back, everybody. Segment 3 of Can Crushers Big Cock Monsters episode. Well, Marketing 101. Anyways, I'm Mike. That's Mark.
This is where people are like, "Oh, I don't know when to turn to a porn channel."
Yeah, well.
I should have went to Collision and not the Pit game last week. Well, I didn't go to West Virginia. I'll put it that way. But I should have went to the Collision at State College and not watched Pitt, West Virginia. Right?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it probably would have been a lot better. Way better than going to fucking Pitt and that. We got to go to Collision here first, but I have to tie it back to Big Cock Monster since that just came up. We're gonna jump around on AEW this week, just kind of blend it all together. But because of Big Cock Monsters, I have to go immediately to John Silver telling Bowens that he looked up scissoring and they're not doing it right. Might have been one of the highlights of Collision for me, and it ties so perfectly well with Big Cock Monsters. So I just had to go throw that out there.
Good. I have nothing to say about it.
Because we don't need to Google that to figure out what the Big Cock Monsters are or anything of that nature.
I have nothing to say to that. I'm really not even going to allow myself to say anything about that. I will go right to the main event, though.
Do it.
I thought we were going to get the Brit show. And I'm actually disappointed. And I know it was in one of her Brits got fucking 16 hometowns, by the way. Yeah. Punxsutawney, Pittsburgh, State College, Orlando, and anywhere in California. I thought, all right, Strats had a nice run. She just did her due diligence against Jade Cargill the night before to beat her in a one-on-one match, not to surprise her. She's had some defenses underneath her. I thought this was a test for Stat to see they can throw it on Britt. It's going to be a dick move. Elevate it a little bit more because Jade having it so long, it got the Gunther syndrome to me. Mm-hmm. Stats was a quick surprise. I think it didn't really do anything really for the title. So it's just kind of been lingering. I think the Brit show would make it, and it's because I'm a goddamn homer. I understand. Stop throwing me under the bus. Yeah, I'm talking probably with somebody like Donnie Bambino for this. But yes, it's somebody like it really hasn't been elevated to this is a noteworthy title.
Yeah.
Because Jade beat every non-main eventer.
Right.
And it was a shock that I thought, all right, Britt's going to win this. And there was 59 fucking times in the match I thought, good. Britt's going to get this under her belt, another accolade. And then they didn't do it. So now I ask you, what are they doing with Britt? Because now she's nowhere near the main event status right now. And I think that's far off. Do we rekindle this?
I would argue that Britt's too big for this title. But here's why I say it, and here's where I'm going with this. It's the same situation with Gunther in the Intercontinental title. We just spent time talking about.
We did.
He was too big for the Intercontinental title, but he had to go somewhere while the Bloodline had a chokehold on the world titles. In Britt's case, Saraya and that group do not have a chokehold on that title. None of those ladies do. You could argue that they do for a month or two. Saraya is not holding this title more than 3 months, Full Gear, which is really lending me to be Britt is on that path to get the title back.
Hater, I'll tell you that right now.
It's not Hater.
Not coming back till February, essentially.
Yeah. Britt's on that path to get the title, I think. I think Britt's the next in line for the title because we're bringing this full circle at Full Gear between her and Saraya. And they're going to, 1 year later, Britt's going to get her win essentially on Saraya. That's in the future. So I think, right, what this did for the TBS title is say, Chris Statlander has now beaten a main event star. Beaten a main eventer, a former women's world champion. It elevates Stat to a level of, okay, she now can kind of play with those big girls, for lack of better terms, but she also gives credibility to this title and saying, it's not just the bottom-dwelling TV title we're going to run through everybody. Stat's now put it at a spot where when she does get beat, if it's by a Willow or a Sky Blue or somebody we don't know yet, it's already
one of those two because they've been buried.
They've been buried. But think of it this way: Stat's beaten a former world champion with that title in her grasp. So now when they decide to take it off of Stat, whoever that person that beats her is, well, Stat's beaten Britt, so by transverse properties, this person's also beat Britt. You know what I mean? It's that I think what we're seeing now with Stat is reestablishing that the title could be lost at any point in time, but it's also Stat can beat anybody that comes and challenges her for the title. So I think it kind of helps elevate the TBS title a little bit more than having Britt come down to it, because I think it's too far under Britt, but it's starting to get built back up to be that secondary women's title that it needs to be.
So my point was essential to get you to say that. Okay? Because I'm being a badass in this.
You'd be the badass.
It's essentially what Gunther has done to the IC title and what Jade did to this title. Too long of reigns, and this is where I'm going to get hate. Too long of reigns in this day and age don't do anything for a title.
So by that statement, though, Roman's title reign has done absolutely nothing for the world title.
I don't know. I'm going to get mockery and shit on.
That's why I question.
I don't know.
I will agree with you in the Jade comment that her title, her wins were too long. for this title because it was just the first title reign of the new title. This should have never been 60-0. This should have never been Jade's title if you were going to do a long gated winning streak with her. If it got to 30-0 and then she lost it, okay. Fine. You know what? Now we can build it up. But to your point, it took way too long to get to 60-0 and get it.
It took a legit year.
Exactly, because they kept spacing out title frames and all of this stuff. And to me, in hindsight's 2020, it was kind of like they knew Chris Statlander was the woman to take it off of Jade, but they had to get her.
When she won it, we said that.
Well, right. But they had to get her to the end of the injury before they could pull the trigger on Jade losing it, right? So they had to make her.
Why couldn't you? And this is me shitting on AEW. Why couldn't you have built somebody else? It's the whole. They still don't build good sometimes, right?
They don't.
Anna Jay at one point was the fucking hottest thing going in wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay, and people are like, no shit, she's hot. I don't mean it that way.
Right.
She's beautiful, but this is not what we're talking about. And I have to cover all bases once in a while because it is stuck in my head. Why couldn't she have? Like, the Bunny is an established, long-time wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't you do the shock with when you were 6 months ago when Sky Blue, and she's still a great prospect up and coming and everything? Why not make it then? You've made it 25-0 or whatever. Why? I don't understand why you had to wait for Stat. Like, it just seems like, holy Christ, you brought Jade in to hold this title as a placeholder. And I hope she gets everything she deserves. She did great in AEW. I would love to see her. I do want to support her. This title is built around two people, and to me, it means nothing. Like, nobody has held it yet. Nobody.
Let's take it one step further. When you start thinking of everybody that we were naming that could have taken off of Ruby, anybody under the sun that could have taken off of AEW, to your point, has built terrible gimmicks around certain individuals and teams that have kind of limited them or let them take their indie personalities, but it's limiting them because they can't market wider on it, right? Or like I know
marketing the third segment.
Marketing 303 now. But when we talk, my thought is with Stat, and this is why they waited for Stat, was they had naturally started moving her away from the alien gimmick to where she was now. Everybody loved her. From New York,
by the way, right now. Too.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what to say to that. But when she fought Britt for the women's title back at, I think it was All In or All Out, whatever year it was. When she fought Britt there, she had moved almost away from the alien gimmick fully at that point and was starting to really establish herself as a main event player. She had a great match and all of that. I think that's when it was clicking for AEW, like, okay, Stat's going to be the one that'll take it off of Jade when the time comes. And then when Stat got injured, they were like, well, shit, we don't think we can get anybody turned around in enough time out of a gimmick to make it work. I think the only person that Jade faced during that time that would have been rightful to take it off of her was Ruby. But they just didn't click in that match to have a revisit of it.
No, I remember.
Yeah, that match was rough. They didn't click well enough to revisit it and have Ruby take a second, get a win over her. So I think they just kind of and this is going back to where AEW goes wrong. They froze and were like, well, we can't concern ourselves with getting something done here. We're going to put it on the back burner. Jade can run with it for however long till Chris gets back. And when Chris gets back, we'll just throw it on Chris and be done with it. And I think that's what they kind of relegated to because AEW doesn't book women well most times.
Right.
To your point about Anna Jay was the hottest thing in wrestling, especially after the freaking brutal war she was having with Penelope Ford and the Bunny and Ty and any of those just disgusting, brutal, hardcore wars that they were having. Anna Jay was making progress, but they didn't want to commit to her. They didn't want to commit, and then they put her in the JAS, and they kind of momentum she had.
Shit. She's in the JAS. We forgot about her.
We forgot about her, so we're going to give her 3 opportunities at the TBS Championship, but not really give her the TBS Championship type thing. So I think, like most things, AEW just put it on the back burner and said, well, when Chris gets here, we can build a plan after that and figure it out from there. And that's
I don't think they're doing a plan yet.
I don't think there is either, but I think that's kind of where they kind of can relax and sit there and say, well, Tony Khan, who has now apparently this week said he worked 80 hours before Collision, is now working 150, 60 hours a week somehow, Hulk Hogan levels at this point. He's going to be working 400 days a week or a year. He's got to find time to get the title from Chris to get a long-term story plan, and it's just not happening right now.
That was a lot longer than I thought we'd spend on that, but valid point.
We're passionate.
We really are. It was. I thought maybe.
Yeah.
Essentially. Otherwise, Collision. What else did you want to bring up? Because FTR against Iron Savage. By the way, we have now confirmed that one of the Iron Savages is one of the Boulder Brothers.
Bear Country. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the other one.
I think he's probably still injured.
Yeah, he must be.
By the way, that was the worst entrance in professional wrestling. Even with I'm gonna shit on Wednesday. I have no fucking.
God, I already know which one you were gonna shit on. As soon as the one happened on Wednesday, I knew you were gonna shit on it. But go on.
Yeah, I had no idea what this guy was saying about them. First of all, when you're talking on the microphone and you're this close in front of 50,000 people, what? I don't even know their names. I only got Boulder.
Yeah.
And I know there was a Boulder in Bear Country.
Yeah.
Why? There's some people that don't need the mic. And whatever Iron Mike Savage, whatever the fuck his name was, should not be doing entrances.
No. God, no.
Thank God that was a fast match with FTR.
I'm glad too. Well, we can't get him injured for them and Aussie Open.
Right.
But Collision wise, I think the only thing to take away is I'm just excited for tomorrow night or tonight when you guys are listening, because we have a Texas.
Yeah, essentially. So we're done with Collision of last week.
We're done with. I mean, there was nothing else that really happened last week.
No.
Besides,
well, Miro is pissed off at Lana. Have we ever gotten her name? Because they have not.
I think it's CJ. I think she's going by CJ. She's going by her actual name.
All right. He doesn't want anything to do with her.
He doesn't want anything to do with her. She's saying she's going to ruin him or something like that. She's going to bend whatever the hell they're going to do. Somebody's getting redeemed at the end of this, and I'm assuming it's their relationship. We'll see what happens, and
it'll be another chapter in the Book of Hobbs.
Or maybe what if they pull a Bobby Lashley and she marries Hobbs?
Please. This is where we needed video, because my heart just fucking broke. I'm like, no. Pull it. No.
Book of Hobbs, Chapter 10, Marriage.
Oh, Grand Slam.
Matrimony. I'm trying to think of one that starts with R. Anyways, Grand Slam.
Bookended by amazing matches. I think we're probably going to differ a little bit here in the middle, a little bit.
Yeah.
But bookended by Eddie and Claudio, and then Joe and Max. I was surprised by first match. And we don't have to break down every match, because there's some that we probably shouldn't even talk about for reals. I was honestly shocked that they pulled this trigger. I know we've shit on Claudio the whole time. I really never thought that. I love Eddie. I love Eddie. Is Eddie really the face of a fucking company?
Well, maybe not, but to me, it wasn't a shock because the New Japan title was on the line, and I'm pretty sure that was on the line as well. So I was like, they're not giving that to Claudio.
Maybe there could be a draw or double count out.
I mean, I guess
title was changing hands.
I could see that, but at the same time, I'm like, it's perfect scenario. It's the New Japan title's on the line, and that's up to them when that changes hands. It's in New York. You have the built-in crowd reaction.
Yeah.
You need to have the blow-off with Eddie. I'm thinking Eddie was supposed to win it sometime this summer, but injuries prevented him from getting the title shot that he needed, so they put it off till they were basically in Yonkers for this one. Excuse me. It was just perfect scenario after perfect scenario, and I think they just had to pull the trigger with it and make it happen, even if it's for a month, because I'm pretty sure there's a pay-per-view coming up for Ring of Honor here in the next month, and Eddie's probably not going to hold on to the title much longer past that.
This also ruined, though, the main event for me.
Really?
Yep.
Because Eddie won.
I knew Max would not.
Would not lose.
Would not drop his.
Yeah.
Now, did I ever think Max was really going to drop it? No. But it solidified it instantly. I'm like, they're giving New York everything they want.
Yeah. I held out hope that Joe could beat Max because I thought that was a very legitimate threat that if they wanted to pull it for 2 weeks, they could. You know what I mean? And then have him face at Wrestle Dream again kind of thing. I hated how that ended, though. How the main event ended. I get he choked him out like he said he would. The tape kind of was just like, kind of hokey. Joe's a better veteran than that type thing. Honestly, I was hoping if they were going to pull that bullshit, you'd have Adam Cole come out with like a fake bottle of chloroform and just drug him or some shit like that.
Adam Cole barely made it out there.
Yeah, he got injured on his way to the floor.
Why the fuck did he jump off the middle of the ramp?
It's the same thing with fucking Punk when he jumps off and injured his foot for 6 weeks.
The ramp leads right to the ring.
Yeah, why jump off? There's stairs next to it too. Run down the fucking stairs. Be safe about it.
You weren't getting in for 5 extra goddamn minutes.
It made no goddamn sense. Why fucking now he's seriously injured, it sounds like. He was in the hospital for a while.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to, spoilers, because I haven't seen it yet and I haven't read the review or the spoilers while we're recording. But Rampage, it's probably going to be the Kingdom versus MJF and Adam Cole at Wrestle Dream for the tag titles. You now screwed that fucking pooch up.
Right?
Why? Because
it looked like a knee.
It did look like a knee. It was a knee, thigh, something happened there where are we going to get a storyline now where Adam Cole's fucking tore his hamstring off and he needs quad surgery and it's over now. The whole thing comes to a screeching halt. MJF is now our scumbag, but that whole thing loses momentum. So it's like,
When do we get back to Adam and MJF then?
Yeah, do we? 8 months, and we might not. Because at that point, MJF will probably lose the title by then.
This is listen, Adam. I love you. This is on you. Why the fuck are you jumping off the ramp halfway down?
Yeah.
Were you worried that taxi that I fucking hate when they let that run during matches? Because my brain goes right over and watches a goddamn taxi go by each time.
Yeah. Yep.
Turn the fucking thing off.
Turn it into just a road. Nothing driving.
Right.
Nothing. Yeah.
Were you worried that you were getting hit by the taxi, so you jumped off the goddamn ramp?
He must have been high on something if that was the case.
Right? This is on you. This really is on you. What do you have to say? We went to the main event. This train wreck all of a sudden. Eddie and Claudio, I honestly liked it because it wasn't perfect. Eddie's matches should never be a 6-pack or a 5-star or anything like if Eddie's matches are a 2, he's a fucking fighter. He does shady shit. And that's why I like this. Like, trust me, if you're gonna break this down as a technical match or want to give it a rating or anything, don't, because it's not there.
Eddie's matches are built on story. The story drives the rating of the match. And this story has been 15 years in the making. We've heard it ad nauseum sometimes.
I'm glad it's over, though.
I'm glad it is over, too. They shook hands. We buttoned it up. Everything's done. I mean, okay, now let's move on. So now, whatever Eddie does next, probably going to be a loss for the title at some point. They're going to lose the title, whatever.
Imagine that, yes.
But there's going to be some sort of story behind it, because that is Eddie's character. You have a story to tell. He had a story during Anarchy in the Arena when he tried to set Chris Jericho on fire. There was a story built in there. There was a story built in Blood and Guts. You know, Eddie just tells story. There's a story when he came and debuted at AEW and he ran Cody Rhodes down with his mouth. It's a story-driven thing for Eddie Kingston. So now the next step is, who's the next story and why do I care? Type thing. Who's the next story? Because the next story is probably going to be the one that takes the title off of him.
Right. And it's got to be a good story. It really
has to be 100%.
A 15, 16-year thing. It can't be, I met Bob Smith last week, had a beer with him. He drinks Coors Light, I drink Miller Lite, and we're fighting. I don't care about that story.
No, I don't either.
I hated everything about Sammy and Jericho.
You hated the WrestleMania 19 callback?
Well, yeah. It
was a bad match.
Jericho had to put his hand on Eddie's ass at the end once he kicked him in the nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Listen, I like callbacks that are subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same fucking thing. This was exactly. The nut shot is the main callback. I understand that. But Jericho made sure to place his hand on his ass like they did back then.
Let's take it one step further. Sammy's gear was Jericho's same gear from that night. Jericho had the red and black color scheme that Shawn Michaels had on that night. It was literally
the match.
The match. Yeah.
And why does Sammy have to be with somebody? This is my big thing, my man crush that I have. Can he just not go by himself? Because even when he wasn't with the JAS, he had Ty attached to him. And I didn't understand. That's his wife. That's his valet, his manager, girlfriend, boyfriend. But, you know, when you're encapsulating all that, I understand that. Can he just please, for the love of fuck, be by himself? One time. Just when he was at Wrestle Circus and he came out with the panda and the bears and all that shit on his head. Unbelievable. You have not seen that yet on AEW.
Mm-mm.
Nobody has seen that yet on AEW of Sammy. He has to be linked with somebody. Now he's with, what the hell did Black Dahlia call us?
Oh,
big cock monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's with the big cock monster, Don Callis.
Yeah. Sammy is now. We begged for him to turn on Jericho, right?
He did,
but not to become a plot device for Callis and first Jericho. He's a plot device now. He's not. He's a plot pawn device, whatever you want to call him, for these two. And so now we're gonna get Sammy and Jericho and Don for the next probably year. Because you know this is going to carry into next year, because Don's going to add somebody else to fuck over Jericho, and then Jericho's going to get a gang together to face these fuckers, and then it's going to be
back.
Exactly. It's going to be back and forth and back and forth. To me, it was just forced to put Sammy with Callis, because it just doesn't do anything for Sammy at this point, but make him another pawn in somebody else's schemes. Your pillars need to be on their own. I mean, Jack Perry's given his own leeway. He's in suspension right now, but he was given his own leeway. You had Darby practically is on his own for the most part. Sting comes back occasionally to help him out and all that, but Sting's going to be gone, so Darby's running on his own. MJF is certainly running on his own. I mean, they paired him with Adam Cole to make an interesting story out of it, but MJF's a loner at this point. The only one that's not is Sammy. I'm failing to see how he's still a pillar if you're not entrusting him to be his own man.
Thank you. Exactly. I remember, I don't know, 6-8 months ago when I said that Jungle Boy wasn't a pillar anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think Sammy's a pillar anymore. I think we have 3 pillars because we'll always throw Britt in there. So we have a triangle pillar because Britt's in there, and we have Darby and MJF. The other 2 are not anymore.
No, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think they did that on purpose because they want to leave a pillar to open just in case somebody young enough leaves the Federation and becomes available. Like Mercedes has left and she's available. She's a free agent. She could be there. That could be a pillar. You know, it's a little bit of plug and play. Who are they going to release? Who can we take to be big enough name to fill these pillars up? I think that's where they're playing right now. And that's a dangerous game to play. Because if you're playing wait around, you're never going to grow as a company.
Nope. I agree. Phoenix and Mox. I don't want to say it is what it is. Mox was dead to the water 5 minutes into this match when he got hit in the back of the head by Phoenix's heel and was done on the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
This is where you say, hey, let's not fuck around with his head if Mox is supposed to keep this title. And I don't know. I don't know if he's supposed to keep the title. I don't know when it was called to make the shift, if it was whatever. I feel it had to have been, though, because why the fuck are we putting the title on Mox for a week and a half, 2 weeks then?
Yeah, you could tell when they had to pivot, they had to scramble to make that graphic for Phoenix because it took them a while to put it up. It took them a while to do anything with that, and the genuine shock. Mox wasn't supposed to lose his title yet. Mox was supposed to run with it. But when you, to your point, you start doing 2 pile drivers on his fucking head, in the first one, he doesn't kick out of, but you stop the count.
Right. Rick Knox.
The fuck are you thinking? You know he's not.
Why
moving.
do another pile driver then? Why not just fucking put him in a figure 4 or something?
Figure 4, or you're Ray fucking Phoenix. Go to the outside, do a fucking splash, and call it a day. You know, don't pick him up, don't touch him. Just try to get away from his head, type thing. Nope. Let's drive him on his fucking skull again.
And the second one hit like Owen Austin hit.
Yeah. He was completely knocked out. I get he can walk away on his own power, but you have a job to protect him. That fucking driver should have not been your first thought of, oh, let me hit it again to cover him up.
And I'm laughing because it's what's the word I'm looking for? And I'm not saying it's funny. I'm not saying it's funny whatsoever. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody knew when Mox didn't kick out and Knox kind of backed off.
He flinched.
They're trying to explain it, and everybody in the crowd's like, that's not fucking right. He shouldn't have moved. He didn't move. Knox did this before with Alex Reynolds when he was unconscious in the ring, and he left him in the center while everybody fought around him.
Yep.
This is now the second time he's created an unsafe working environment that at least the mainstream audiences have known. And to be honest, he's not doing a great job in other matches either.
Oh, no. He is, for me, he's been the, and we try not to shit on the referees.
I'm trying not to, but
he has been the worst one in AEW.
Yeah.
The worst. But he's the tag team specialist. I just threw my pen, by the way.
To me, I don't shit on referees, but when you have multiple instances where you're creating unsafe work environments for those that are unconscious in the ring and not thinking about the wrestler safety, things need to be reconsidered.
There's a telltale sign there. Yeah.
There's something's missing. Somebody needs to start thinking, that's not good. Somebody needs to grow a set and basically say, we need you to step up, protect these guys, or take a couple weeks and just kind of walk away. To me, that was just totally unsafe. Ray Phoenix should never have, in his mind, thought second pile driver. To that point, Rick Knox should have counted the 3 because I'm pretty sure AEW, they're supposed to shoot count the 3 if they don't kick out.
That's what I've heard from them. Bryce says, I think Remsburg has actually come on the record and said, we're supposed to count.
Yeah.
You're there to figure it out backstage.
Yeah. Yep. So don't be a hero and try to save the match.
Yeah.
Because listen, I get Mox is one of the big guys in the company. Let's say the big guy in the company.
Right.
Mox is also a student of the game in the business. He may be a scary motherfucker in that ring, but I'm sure he's going to be like, well, I was fucking locked loopy. So if you had to count the 3, you had to count the 3.
My thoughts are, so why do we do that spot? Like, I really think it started when he got fucking clocked on the jump on the outside. Why don't we pivot then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's up. I know we're going to have, and God forbid we have 10 extra minutes on the show to fucking do something.
Yeah.
Let Excalibur slow down and tell us what's going on instead of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stop the match early. Get ready. Dogs are going to go ape shit. Ethan's home, by the way. Here comes Max. Why not make a pivot then that Mox doesn't need to lose the title and he doesn't have to take 2 bile drivers?
Yeah.
Let him just Big Kong Lariat. Phoenix takes the loss. It doesn't hurt anybody that Phoenix takes the loss early.
Yeah.
It helps Mox because then he's more powerful. He battled through this. Instead, you go 10 extra minutes. Oh, shit. We're putting a graphic together in case anything happens. Power. Boom. Oh, fuck. He didn't count to 3. All right, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Now he's dead. And I don't mean... All right.
Yeah.
In wrestling terms.
It's bad when it was a bad injury. Nonetheless. Yep. Cut it loose. Even the fucking King Kong Lariat. Fuck. Have Mox low blow him and just end the match. Just be like...
Right.
And then figure it out from there.
Like Jericho did with Pac. When he was...
Yeah, with Charles Robinson. When Robinson was kept letting him get up and all that because he was fucking injured. So Jericho put his hands on... Yeah, it was Neville. But Jericho put his hands on Robinson to stop the match because his foot was broke. We needed to end the match.
Right.
Do it. Pivot. You can figure it out. You guys have... Jesus Christ, if Tony Storm and Saraya need to go 10 extra minutes, let them go 10 extra minutes for the women's title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're both professionals.
They're both professionals. Jesus Christ, MJF and Joe could have went 10 extra minutes if you needed to make up the time. Find the way, protect your talent, because at the end of the day, you putting Mox in a position that can seriously damage him even further is just asinine and asking for a bad situation to be made 20 times worse.
In a couple weeks, we get a rematch, and Mox just fucking decimates him.
Exactly. And that's what's going to happen.
It does nothing. And it does nothing for this.
Nope.
Or there's a major pivot, and we're like, what the fuck are they doing with the international title?
Yeah.
Just put it back on Orange and start over again. I don't know. But, right?
Yeah.
Tony and Saraya did need more time, honestly.
Yeah. They didn't tell a full story that they needed to.
No. They really didn't. Like, Ruby got involved, but she didn't do anything.
Yeah. She was involved, but not involved, and it was kind of like, we're going through the motions here to kind of just get us to an end result. We have to have a spray cannon.
We have a women's match on the card.
Yep.
And I hate that we say this because I love both of them.
Yeah.
And I do love, this sounds stupid, but I do love more of the AEW roster as women from the independents and this, that, and the other thing than the WWE ones. But there's AEW still. Yeah, we have a women's card in the match. It went 7 minutes. That's really what we call for here in AEW.
It's early 2010s and late 2000s
right.
WWE right now. We have it.
Really is. There.
Also, I have to say this because this drove me up a fucking wall. Yeah, so Storm starts pulling out shoes, throwing them at Ruby and whatnot. She gets in the ring with a high heel in her ass, basically, that everybody under the sun can see. And listen, the crowd's mostly men. The hornballs are looking at her ass. So everybody's looking at her ass. You're going to tell me the ref didn't notice the fucking high heel hanging out of her ass? Come on.
Nope. Not at all.
Nobody picked up on that. So then we just he looked straight at her. And she gets in the ring and distracts him, throws a shoe at Saraya. I'm like, guys, come on. There's somebody, I could see that. Stevie Wonder could see that she was hanging out of her trunks.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. Figure it out.
These middle three matches were an abysmal part of the show.
It was like, hey, we need to have these 3 matches on here because they're got to push a plot point or something, or I don't know what. They just dragged.
Yeah.
And can I also say that, not anything against these 3, but like in general, I just thought Grand Slam was overall just not the level that they've built it up in the past.
No, it wasn't.
Like, they had 2 great Eddie finishing his story before Cody Rhodes ever finishes his, versus
if ever,
he might be 15 years as Eddie was with Claudio, but we'll get there when we get there in 15 years. But MJF and Samoa Joe, that was a great match, whatever, despite my grievances with the ending and all that.
It ended it, though.
It did end it. But then it's like, okay, but there was nothing really. I think it's because the 3 matches were so lackluster and you thought something else was going to happen that it was kind of like, it fell flat.
Wrestling has us, especially AEW, trained to look for a surprise here, a surprise there, a surprise here. And I understand we shouldn't get them every time.
Right.
When was the last time we got one from AEW? I mean, we don't need big signings all the time. But
we just need a surprise.
How about where's a Wardlow at?
Why couldn't Wardlow walk out and confront Mox even if Mox didn't get injured? Let's say he beat Phoenix. Wardlow walks out, challenges Mox. Game on. Let's go. Or comes out, challenges an Eddie, or attacks an Eddie. That type of thing. That's fantastic. We're not asking for much. If you think about it, 2 years ago, I brought it up earlier, Omega Danielson was at Grand Slam. It was a big time match because it was 2 of the best at the top of their game. That's all we need. It would just give us a great fucking match to burn the house down to even kick it off.
Yep.
Hangman and anybody would have tore down the house.
Where was Starks, who's supposed to be one of your biggest hated heels right now?
Exactly. Wait,
before you leave, give me a beer, please. You don't mind leaving late. My Uber service is now mad at me. It also needs to have the top popper. All right.
Jesus. Hi.
Okay. People in Camp Crushers don't need to hurt that your girlfriend's butt hurt. We are recording.
Yeah,
right
we are.
I'm not editing anything. We're in the middle of talking about Wardlow. Welcome to the Martinez lifestyle. And she didn't listen. This doesn't. I'm not gonna be able to drink this.
Get off the side of the desk. Just try to.
It's rounded.
Oh, I don't know. Well, so I gotta say something. Don't hurt yourself. Did it come off?
It did. I don't know where it went though.
Well, at least you got it off. By the way, this fucking third segment of the podcast has just gone downhill. We started with big cock monsters, moved into scissoring, gone on tangents about age.
The wife's going to the girlfriend's house.
Somebody's butt hurt about. Yeah.
And we're long, by the way, too.
We are way long, too. I don't know. Grand Slam just needed something to pop it. Maybe something's going to happen tonight on Rampage. I don't know. But to be honest, the only thing I'm expecting to come out of Rampage is Orange Cassidy and Hook eating chips. So I wanted Christian. Give me Christian just berating somebody about their dad. I don't know.
Right?
Pop me with Christian at least. Something.
It was a glorified Dynamite.
Yeah.
Is all it really was.
It missed its mark this time around. And I think we're going to start seeing that because they're going to start pushing to a more pay-per-view heavy schedule.
The rumor is we're going to Max, and we're getting every month. Yeah. But wrestling's not included in your Max subscription, not prescription, because God, the doctor would have to tell us. Well, Britt would take care of us.
Yeah, right.
But as of right now, you have to subscribe to Max for $99.99. Then if you want the wrestling part of it, you add an extra $10. I don't know if that's the right way to go.
I'm not going to like it at all, to be honest. Because what's the difference between paying $30 for Max to $50 for a pay-per-view every month?
Right. And then you get people like me. All right, we don't have Max. We have the best Max around.
Right.
I don't want to. Yeah, he's looking right at me because we keep saying his name.
Like, what are you saying about me?
No, we don't have that subscription channel, which essentially I don't know how much it is. So let's just say it's $150 a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're going to make me add more to it. So another $120 a year, essentially. I'm going to start picking and choosing what pay-per-views I'm going to buy.
Exactly.
I will buy your top 4. Okay, so that's $100, $200.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to give me Grand Slam as a pay-per-view, I definitely would not have bought it. I probably wouldn't have bought it even on paper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because on paper, MJF and Joe, hit or miss.
Yeah.
Kingston and Claudio, potentially have a great moment, but it's not selling me.
Right. The other three,
we've seen Mox and Phoenix before. That's not a first-time match. So, man, Jericho and Guevara,
not really.
The way Jericho had been wrestling, it's not a must-see.
Yeah. So, I understand. that, the streaming is the way to go. It better be included. This is WWE is doing it perfect. They really are. They're not going to touch it. Listen, $10 a month, I get the full season of The Office. If anything else, for $10 a month or whatever Peacock is, I don't know. The wife gets all that. But I'm just saying, $10 a month, I can watch The Office whenever I want. Cool. And I get an added pay-per-view thrown in. That's the way I look at it. Because she watches something on Peacock as well. That's taken care of because there's TV watching stuff. And then the pay-per-view is thrown in. I have no idea what's on Max. He needs a bath. But you need to tell me why I need to buy Max. And it better be I get the pay-per-view thrown in as well. Not have to pay an extra $10 to get the sports package on Max. not going to happen.
Yeah. And
Because you're still going to sell it on pay-per-view as well.
Exactly. And to your point, if you weren't watching any HBO specials, if you didn't have HBO and you were watching like Game of Thrones or anything of that nature, and you don't have the will to want to watch it, why are you going to buy Max? There's no reason to buy Max. Even the movie selections that they have on there, it's like, whatever. Like, okay, well that sucks. I can't see that, but that's fine. It'll be on one of the other ones at some point.
Pluto in 2 months.
Exactly. I can wait till Pluto pulls it up and has its own channel for 24 hours a day, right? So it's not forcing you to buy anything, and unless you're really into Discovery, some sort of Animal Planet shows or some shit like that, there's no reason you're buying Max.
Yeah.
I'm not that invested in wanting to see any HBO show whatsoever that I'm paying for Max.
Right.
Like when I had it for the time I did, I watched 2 movies and maybe a show, and that was it.
But if everything is together, you're okay with it, right?
If everything is together, yeah. I mean, if everything's together and it's $15.99 for everything, including sports, okay, fine. You know what?
Right.
I'll bite
and that's
the bullet.
where I am. I'll deal with it, because then I'm getting the pay-per-view essentially for $15 a month.
Exactly. $15 a month. Okay, I can deal with that. You know what? It's cheaper than 50. Okay, fine. Perfect. But if it's 10 to 15 more, and your only sports package, the only sporting that you're offering me is wrestling, AEW, no, I'm sorry.
I'll give my money to Xfinity.
Exactly.
I know it might be an extra $15 more, but
I'd rather.
I know math-wise, it's Steiner math. I understand that. I really do. But it's picking and choosing which ones I'm going to watch then.
Yeah, and right now, unless you are truly obsessed with, because let's be honest, ROH will be there with it. Unless you're truly obsessed with ROH, early 2000s ROH, and let's even go back to this. If it doesn't even include a video library and it just includes a sports package so you can see pay-per-views, I'm definitely not buying it at that point.
Yeah.
Because
you better be starting to do Table of 4, Circus House, follow Britt and Adam around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Find your couples and fucking latch on the All Access, put it on there.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Start producing shit, and then I'll think about it.
Exactly. Because if you're not including that library, I have no incentive whatsoever to buy that fucking package, even for $10 more, even for the $15.99, and sitting there like, I don't fucking want this for $15.99, because I guarantee you there's a subsection that I'm not even subsection. The fans want a video library so they can watch old ROH, early 2000s ROH, and they can watch early AEW. We can relive Omega Danielson. We can relive Danielson Page, the 60-minute classic, and then the Iron Man match and everything under the sun that they've done.
Go work with your indies that you're tight with, and I'll continue to say the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, or IWC, or other ones, OVW, or whatever, something like that. Get their footage.
Yeah.
How many people want to see, and I'm going to throw out the 2 that I know, Britt and Wardlow's first match?
Yeah.
Watch the documentary. Buy it from IWC. I don't fucking care. You have to give Justin Plummer or 2-to-1 Media. Buy it and put it on there. This is their story.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that want to see that don't know that Britt came from IWC and how to find it, unless they're listening to here. There's others. There's Willow, there's Penelope, all those. Put that shit on there. And I'm going to pat us on the back. Be Can Crushers to find out about indies, to know their backstories, a la Black Dahlia, a la everybody that we've had on here.
Yeah.
Get me invested in Willow. You love Willow. I still don't know if I like Willow yet, because I don't fucking know anything about her that she dances on the way out to the ring.
Right.
Cool. You know how many dancing people we've had on the way out to the ring? 1 million. And I'm picking on her. I do like her. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give me some substance why I need to like her.
Right. Well, the long and short of it is, well, you mentioned it earlier, WWE has it figured out. All the fucking WWE plan. Follow what they did on the network. They introduced they did their own shows. They brought in video libraries. They brought in, before they bought them out, Progress, Evolve, because they knew their top talent had matches in there. So they had the video library streaming for those because A, it gets you a backstory to who they were, the Gunthers, the Drew McIntyre, who had to come back to WWE through Evolve, through Progress, through IW, through them all. You know what I mean? And do that same mindset. Do it with the indies. Do it with what they had. You're not going to buy the companies, but you're just going to go in and say, hey, can we get some footage of Wardlow? Can we get his best matches? To your point, get the best matches. Make a partnership with NWA and get Ricky Stark's best matches.
Right?
Pull resources at this point to make it work. Make it worth the investment that you want people to put into it. Because it's going to be the same situation with Honor Club. If I don't have a reason to buy Honor Club at this point in time, make me want this stuff. And if you're not going to make me want this stuff, you're not getting my money.
We need to stop.
We are going long. I'm getting ready to say, bitch ain't getting my money. We're
solving world problems all of a sudden.
This is how, look, we
knew that we had stuff to talk about. What bit us in the ass is an hour and 20-minute episode
earlier.
Segment 1.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk a lot about college football this week.
We didn't talk not a lot about college football. The releases were not where we went. It was video games. We went down the rabbit hole. It wasn't releases. It was video games in the Steam Deck. But let me say this, though, and I'm going to button this up with everything that we said in segment 2 about Suicide Prevention Month and all that. Listen, I've had a rough week. This was a fucking great conversation because it made me forget 3.5 hours. 501 came through this week for me because it just was like, all right, we have something.
Jeans, by the way, too.
A what?
Didn't Levi have 501s? What was the?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Levi. It was either Levi or Wrangler. But all I'm saying is, this was a great conversation today, and I needed it. So thank you for that.
We really didn't actually talk about wrestling whatsoever. We just put our own fucking mantra up there and talked about the releases of Steam Deck and shit on Macs.
It's a good week. It was marketing. We talked about marketing.
Marketing, releases, hatred, and air quotes. This is going to be the longest title, probably.
To the max. Might as well put To the Max on there just to kind of button everything up. Marketing to the max.
I have no idea what pictures we're using. Jesus Christ. Be up till 4 o'clock in the morning editing this. By the way, SmackDown is still on. Never mind. I was going to say, by the way, SmackDown is off, but it's only
9:30.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that, and I'm not even watching it on my screen.
Well, because something came on the TV, and I'm like, wait, SmackDown's supposed to be on right now. But
I'm also thinking I have to put the TV up here, but I don't think I like that, so I don't know where this TV is going to go in this office.
Yeah, and your lighting in the last couple of weeks is weird. I'm not going to...
It's because
listen.
We'll go off air with this conversation.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them.
Because you never know.
Whoop, whoop.